This could be tiring.
Yeah. Go. Grab your calamansi. We are starting in a few.
Why are you Eastern European?
Yes, Nico, Baduy Pride na. I saw your message. I am still setting up the monitors. David! Hey, David. Yes, we were awkwardly smiling.
We're thumbnailing. This is David's topic.
Oh, even better. Then I'm loading up YouTube, which will probably try to get me to listen to jazz again. It's Friday jazz!
It's appropriate jazz. Oops, need to prep. Oh wait, I'm supposed to share the link and then edit this.
That's a really loud vehicle. Hey, Pico.
Yeah, and then like the other time, we had like this guy, like we could hear people drag racing the other night or something. Definitely strange behavior.
Well, sometimes people have their fandoms, I guess.
Fandoms making noise in the middle of the night.
Spending on cars and hoping that makes them feel special.
Ooh, are you trying to shade? No. I shall join you with some Eastern European shade. No. But yeah, awkward smiling, officially calling thumbnailing.
I realized I do not have a bottle opener. Because I broke the bottle
opener. You broke the bottle.
Oh wait, I'll use yours.
Don't break mine.
See?
I worry for my O-Bar bottle opener. Sana you got the can opener na lang. Or the wine bottle opener thing. We have like official dedicated things for this function.
That wouldn't be as fun.
Do we have something like that on the list? Like you trying to engineer solutions?
Tagalog, hindi siya kasing...
Sige nga. Sige nga.
Wait, say it.
Oh my God, why?
That's fun.
That's something I don't like, but Toby does.
Yeah, that should be on the list.
I don't know how to put it on the list.
Terrible puns. So I will have... I'll have to add up to the list.
So I only like classy puns.
So you have British puns, and I have terrible dad puns. There you go. That's a good way to distinguish the two.
Okay, I got links set up on the tweeters because, you know.
Oh.
Pico has coffee. Coffee? Why coffee this late? Not tea?
I guess just woke up.
Because he remember he had the whole sleeping challenge thing.
No, but exactly. I mean, is it coffee because he just woke up?
I'm gonna pour myself a drink. Hey Jed, it's Friday, and once again, we're at home.
Oh, what am I doing? I'm supposed to be killing the volume.
I don't know what you're doing.
I'm setting my alarms as if I was gonna go to bed.
Wow. Is that an age thing? Hey, RJ. My fabulous mix of, well, as usual, I am drinking vodka and soda water because no sugar. Toby still has some leftover Heineken from last weekend. And just in case, I'm going to put the other vodka. I don't think I'm going to drink that much, but it would be nice to have a chilled one.
It is a Friday night.
See, again, Eastern European. Hey, Noel.
Okay.
And then Andre's like, first time to see a repeat shirt. That just means you haven't seen most of our shirts repeating because they've all been repeating at this point. Guys, Kylie Minogue's disco album is
so
out
good.
completely on Spotify, and the individual audio tracks have also been published as YouTube videos.
And they're so
Super
good.
happy. I mean, okay, I will concede it's a very retro feel to the album, but I love it. So, and then maybe some of you may not be into it. There is a definite like disco vibe to it, to many of the songs, but super nice.
Okay, that was
super
sad.
nice.
Everyone I tried to spam the link to responded with on my way to work.
Nature is healing.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be like uh, the one friend.
And see, Jed, this is your fault, Jed. Look, Jed, this is your fault, Jed. It's this weird irrational. Since I'm gonna buy beer anyway, I might as well buy a different beer.
I don't know. I didn't make you buy the beer.
Hey, Ina.
Hey, Ina. I guess we can start. All right. Let me switch caption, and then
This is Toby.
and this is Rocky.
And if it's your first time here, welcome to Baduy Pride, a little space on the internet where we talk about anything we want.
This is completely unscripted, but not entirely accurate, and at least it's honest. Join us. We talk about everything and anything, random, live.
And if it's not your first time here, thank you so much for joining us again. Tonight is the 77th episode. Can you imagine? 77. That's still less days than the length of time we've been in lockdown.
That's like 230 something days in quarantine. Woohoo!
But for this episode, where we are spending definitely more than 30 minutes, we are talking about
different likes. I mean, the original wording of this topic was things you like that your partner doesn't, which came from David, which is awesome. Although, admittedly, because we were trying to figure this out over dinner, and then I think there aren't a lot of things that one like really likes and the other doesn't like, but we kind of have things where one is stronger than the other. One likes it a lot more than the other. There are a few things that when we first got together, one didn't like, and then over time got over it because coffee is awesome. So,
oh my god, we're already at 12. Ah, that's so fast. That's so early.
which means 10.
Yay! Our 10.
Because Toby, as I always explain, Toby is two of the people in the view count because he is also viewing the YouTube and Facebook streams for quality checks. So yeah, so we kind of prepared a list. It was already a little hilarious to figure out the list because there were already some significant disagreements.
As always, we are welcome to hear from you. So just send in your comments as you watch the show, and we shall see how we can incorporate or relate to it.
Yeah. So it's basically, or maybe if you guys have assumptions about what each of us likes and the other doesn't like, and we'll kind of get into that. So
yeah. So for example, Andre mentions kabaduyets. Neither of us like it.
All tea, all shade.
But you never know if it really catches, then maybe we might end up using it.
Because flash fact, it's not like there were people who liked Obarians, but Obarians has kind of stuck for some circles for people who like Obar.
So let's get the show on the road and start with collectibles.
I approve of this.
Officially, I wrote that as toys. And Rocky insisted we call it collectible.
Because it has to cover the width and span of what I have. Because my Eagle Moss, model ships are collectibles.
Well, it could have been a separate entry.
No. I think we can group them together.
I was more worried that you didn't want, toys to be mistaken as toys.
Are you trying to be like Miranda's mom?
I'm trying to maintain monetization. So I'm not saying toys.
Oh my gosh. And then but okay, so I especially in my adulthood I still collect Transformers and the official Star Trek Starships collection. So there are these wonderful die-cast model ships, and I now I collect Lego through Nico.
Pia asks, Rocky, what are you drinking?
Pia is Sophie, but yeah, vodka, soda water with some calamansi. It's Stolich because I was influenced by another friend. RJ asked, "Do you go to Obar?" Oh my gosh, do we go to Obar?
Do we go to Obar?
Yes, we very, very much go to Obar. And before Baduy Pride, my main claim to YouTube fame was many, many, many videos of drag queens performing. Andre asking, what is the most expensive collectible I have?
Oh, that's a good question.
It's not necessarily
It's
amount
not
of
here yet.
Huh? No. Oh well.
It's not here yet.
Okay. In term, no,
But it is.
I have shelled out money. Yes, it doesn't. It hasn't been produced yet, so I don't have it yet.
Yes.
But I think in terms of true value, I will point to like my original Fortress Maximus, which I got from Santa Claus in the second grade, and I still have him. So that was like 1991. So yeah, he used to be the big for the longest time. He was the biggest Transformer at 2 feet tall. Now they're all so many Titans that are 2 feet tall. But yeah. Yeah, and then Toby's corresponding thing for collectibles to move this subject away is stuffed toys.
That's not meant to explain why I had the weird bone for my Halloween costume, which
where I say he has to keep it. The Toby bone
looks like a stuffed toy, but it's meant to be an Among Us
bone sticking out of a whatever, half a body.
But admittedly, I do have a collection of stuffed toys, and we use stuffed toys and not teddy bears because I don't really particularly like.
He likes
teddy bears.
pigs. He likes pigs more than any others, and this was a main topic of conversation when we were first going out because in his car alone, he already had like this tiny pig on a little pillow that was almost like a religious icon, and then there was
that was the one pressed against the windshield.
And then there was the pink and the blue ones who were like hanging off.
Yes.
So the
hanging
window,
by the side.
Yeah, they were like
the
there.
Cups. And then you had Baboy was spread out and long and happy.
So yeah, so I mean, to be fair, I have fed this stuffed toy whatever interest. I bought a number of pigs for Toby, including like the bigger pig, and the other baboy. It was just sad. Yeah. RJ is like, what do you find annoying in each other? Oh, we'll get there. So many things.
Aina asks, like my massager. Oh, Aina, we will cover that in a later item on the list.
Or maybe not this episode. Again, I'd like to maintain monetization.
Yes, as much as possible. We are not talking about in this episode.
I don't know how your tongue came out pronouncing that word. That's not how the word is pronounced. Okay. Yeah, so moving on.
This one will connect to Pico's question, which is, you like books.
Yeah, okay. So
and generally that is your go-to for fiction. When you want to visit different worlds, you dive into books.
Yeah, I mean, Toby reads a lot of RPG books, but then like in terms of straight up fiction, that's me.
Yeah.
And I have a sizable collection, a physical collection. My Kindle is conveniently hiding how large my collection really is now.
And in addition, you're really at home with books, so you can literally read through more than just a single book at the same time. I mean, some people like me, if we focus on a book, we have to finish it before we start another book.
Okay, we're gonna go here.
But
okay,
you can like juggle multiple books.
Okay, so like for context, I'm reading at least one physical book because I want my physical books to move again. That's in the bathroom. It's parked there safely out of reach.
Okay.
There's the active book that's on my Kindle. Why are you mouthing?
Go on.
And I'm typically only reading one book on my Kindle. I don't like switching beyond that.
Then the audiobooks.
I have one audiobook active for when I jog. And then I have at least one digital comic that I'm reading on Comixology. My Comixology collection is also crazy. Andre asking who has more books. Obviously me. Obviously me.
Obviously, Rocky has a 3-book rule when it comes to buying books.
Hey, we're not bringing up my 3-book rule. At least I'm no longer buying physical books as much because, admittedly, Kindle
Lockdown.
is more convenient. Kindle is more convenient. So, but I do seem to have a habit,
Mhm.
a belief, whatever, that it makes more sense to buy 3 books than 2. You can buy 1, that's okay. But the moment there's 2, you need to have 3.
Because 2 is not a good number.
And then you need multiples of 3 after that. So then I'm like constantly juggling things in my basket when we're buying.
So Rocky reads approximately how many books? a
My
year?
reading goal now is 365 titles.
And last year you hit.
I can check. I know I hit my goal. I've hit my goal consistently ever since I started tracking it because it's become another thing that I track. So like, for example, now, it's still loading. Of my 365 title goal, I know I'm already at, I'm at 330. So I'm only 35 books away, and it's only November. I'm going to get there.
You're 90% done.
I'm 90% done. I am 21 books ahead of schedule.
Hmm.
And then I can pull up my past stats.
And while you're pulling it up, so Rocky has books as his go-to for fictional places, for escapism in terms of going to a different world and enjoying things. Mine, it would be horror movies and shows. I just like going through those sort of movies. I like the ones that make you wonder about the things in the dark. I like stories where you have people screaming or monsters emerging.
See, okay, last year wasn't great. I only read 366 books out of 365.
Just one over.
The year before, I read 379 out of a target of 350. Before that, it was 326 out of a target of 300. Before that, it was
And when
307
did you
out of a
start
target of
this
300.
reading challenge?
Only in 2016.
So
Before that, I was just reading.
So approximately, assuming it's just 300
Yeah, we can just say 300 bucks.
out of the 9
Years.
2016, 2011.
2016.
Okay.
So I've only tracked for 4 years.
So for the last 4 years, you have read at least 1,200 books.
Yes. If for those who are interested, the number of books I have tagged as read on Goodreads is 2,933.
I probably have like 30.
And it doesn't get to count books I read as a kid because this was before tracking, or like I used to read all the Star Trek stuff. So Pico has a weird question. What is the largest wishlist count between the two, and what are those mostly? What do you mean between the two of us? Or because like, okay, to be fair,
I guess that's your books.
I maintain an Amazon Kindle wish list that I publish every time it's my birthday and Christmas so that people can buy me stuff. So that's a pretty big list. And then recently on Comixology, I have started adding to my list. I started maintaining a wish list on Comixology, but its main purpose is not for gifting, but for tracking the next books I'm supposed to get so that when there's a sale, I can check immediately if it's on
sure
sale.
to get it.
Yeah. And then, any wish list. And then my Steam wish list isn't that long.
Yeah, Rocky has more in the book wish list than the Steam wish list.
Oh, yeah, by a factor of many. I'm not going to give a number.
In any kind of items, who has a larger wish list count? That'd be Rocky.
But that's because I am
track.
more organized.
And that is another topic. So there's books and horror movies.
But I am more organized.
But there's
and I will
order.
list everything.
There's order and there's
Toby.
And Toby is a sense of chaos that for me makes sense.
Yes. Okay. So what this is so yeah, and then to be fair, as Toby was talking about horror is probably one of the few things where we can actually say it is something that Toby likes and I do not like. Because Toby can appreciate books, can appreciate my collectibles, but I cannot horror. I cannot. I mean, at least, hey, we're watching The Twilight Zone, which is not even horror.
I think you can handle suspense, but the moment
Yes,
it has horror
suspense.
elements,
Actually, Thriller pa lang, I'm already at the
Yeah,
I'm already
but you can
beating
still
Tobias.
enjoy it to some extent.
Yeah.
But the moment it dips beyond suspense and it starts becoming something horrific, there's a monster involved or there's a terrible creature involved.
I don't
It
know,
starts
guys.
affecting you.
It's just,
Mhm.
yeah.
Not
So,
your thing.
not my thing.
What your thing is, though, is the cold. And notice while we do the show, I have a blanket with me. See?
Okay, my family will disagree because of my family, I'm still one of the more sensitive to the cold. But relatively speaking, I seem to enjoy colder temperatures than Toby.
By relatively, Rocky means when he has the aircon on, he also has the electric fan.
Only sometimes in the day. The fan's not on now
on the
because it's
opposite
cooler.
on the opposite end of the spectrum, I like scalding hot water when I bathe.
Yeah, I think there was an internet meme about the real Nico, the real test of couples is not like who wears the pants and stuff. It's like who stands in the corner while the other one is on fire or something with the water or whatever. So we definitely have a temperature difference for some reason.
And we have had those moments. I mean, I remember I'd have the labacara, the small scrubbing.
I'm sorry, the
towel.
what?
Labacara. That's the term we use.
What is
I'll use it to block the cold droplets bouncing off you as I wait for you to finish with the water. And then we'd slip.
Because, to be fair, heated water is like a luxury I didn't really grow up with or didn't have the patience for.
I didn't either.
But Noel says he likes hot water too. But Toby's hot water is like scalding.
No, it's not. Maybe a bit.
It's like, whoa! It's like cover your privates. It's too much hot,
No, it's like I'm in a spa and I'm enjoying the hot water and all my pores open.
I don't know. Okay.
But yeah, I'm a hot water person. Surprisingly though, I'm not a hot water. Sorry, I'm not a hot place person. I'm not the type of person who'd enjoy being in the beach under the sun. I'd rather be in the shade.
And he's not a big hot drink person either.
Yes.
He likes more cold drinks, which is ironic.
So I guess we can move this up just to connect to it because it is a question that's listed by Pico as well.
Who likes coffee more?
Yes.
So this is something that has evolved. This is one of those it changed. When we first got together, Toby wasn't a big coffee fan.
No.
So we would go to a coffee shop together.
I'd get the green tea frappuccino or the
Or
raspberry.
any frappuccino. Then I always feel like I'm with a child. Like, oh, let me get you ice cream.
You probably still are with a child. Because when they hear what your side of your coffee, I am
ice cream, cake. Toby likes cake more than anyone I know.
Mm-hmm. I'm a huge cake ice cream person. To understand how much of ice cream I like, in icebergs.
Oh, we're gonna tell this story.
In icebergs,
Okay.
there is a dish that they serve.
Let's call it a dish.
Called the King Kong.
Or its corresponding friend, Godzilla.
The Godzilla. The King Kong is more chocolate based with
it's like a giant chocolate banana split.
Yeah, whereas the Godzilla is more halo based.
It's a fruit. It's a fruit combination. Yeah,
it's basically around 6 to 8 scoops of ice cream, as a single large container that they serve. So Rocky and I were in the earlier years of going out. I invite Rocky to Icebergs because I thought this was the place. This is my favorite place. We can go here and we can eat.
And to be fair, that was one of the first times I'd ever been to Icebergs.
Yes,
because
exactly.
I don't know, my family was not an Icebergs family.
So I was like, okay, menus, let's order. And I look at the menu without even, without a moment's delay. I already knew what I wanted. I tell the waiter, I'll get one King Kong.
Yeah, and I look at the menu and okay, cool.
And Rocky
closes the menu.
And I look at him and I go, we're sharing.
And wait, we're not?
So that is me and ice cream. I used to finish a pint of ice cream a day. I just really like ice cream. And cake, not all cakes. I'm not so much a chiffon cake fan.
Not all cakes.
Admittedly. When it's like the standard vanilla or mocha cream cake, I'm okay, it's cake, but I'm not as happy compared to, let's say, the mango bravo, or
We jumped to mango bravo.
brasa Mercedes, or leche flan even maybe. So I kind of like them more custardy, fruity,
Is this custardy as a gesture?
and creamy.
Oh my god. So yeah, but this is not to say I don't like desserts, but obviously I don't like it as much as Toby does.
Mhm.
The fact that this has been Toby's main barrier against possibly really embracing a low carb lifestyle is that he cannot give up his ice cream and cake.
That's true. It's quite true. I'll move topics down and move up food because Pico asks, "What about your choice of cuisine?"
I think well, in terms of cuisine in general,
We're pretty much a
we're pretty
match.
flexible. Yeah, yeah.
We don't have specific cuisines
That
we
one
hate.
likes that the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we aren't necessarily picky about cuisine. It's not like, let's say, in some couples we're in, I love pizza, but my partner hates pizza, so now we don't eat pizza. Or
Yeah, that would suck.
yeah,
We
we're
don't
not
have
like that.
stories like that. No.
And
no.
as much as you'd think that
The closest is my keto thing.
Yeah.
Now. It's like,
and even with that, we still found ways to make it work because
Yes.
there are food we both love. Sariwan being one of the more prominent ones that is keto friendly.
Nico's like pig hati.
Pig hati, which is Nico. Please post in the comments what pig hati is.
Oh my god.
But Rocky is able to eat something I barely can stand, and that is
Raw garlic. And for a while, you also weren't like into bell peppers, no? Like raw bell pepper.
Yeah, I still don't like raw bell peppers.
But yeah, raw garlic. And this is really more because of the rise of Korean cuisine.
I never understand why they include those small slivers. So when you started eating
They
them,
started eating
I was like,
them.
what?
In it, I like it.
Because I even used to roast them while they're cooking the sandwich.
I can eat the raw slices of garlic. And then I will I want garlic now in every bite of my samgyeopsal.
Mhm.
So, yes, I will eat raw garlic.
Camera a bit closer. There.
Okay.
There.
Hey, Mitch. Oh wow, and then on the flip side, Toby
Is very weird.
Oh, you need to move it back towards you. It's a little too far.
When it comes to food, I get really weird. So there's lato, which some of you probably have heard of and tried. Some call it the caviar of the sea. It's like those little grapes in a branch, but it's really seaweed. And when you eat it,
Maybe this is just a question of exposure because I've never really had it until we were together.
yeah. And you did try the other thing I like, which is the alugbate with bagoong.
Yeah, that works for me.
Yeah,
and
it's
then
happy
like,
bagoong
or even
so-
laing. I hadn't had laing until we were together.
But yes, I'm a huge fan of lato. And then I'm also a huge fan of a lot of these weird fruits. Well, weird for
Oh,
Rocky.
hey Jay. Hey.
That ranges from balimbing to kamyas to makopa and aratilis.
So the way that I have explained this away is that maybe it's just exposure, right? That like I don't eat fruit. Typically, most of the fruit I've eaten are fruit you've seen on Sesame Street. So if they did not appear in Sesame Street, I probably didn't eat it. Exceptions like mangoes, because mangoes, But otherwise,
Someone please inform Sesame Street they have to feature lato and makopa and aratilis.
or Cookie Monster.
Oh, no. I like lato.
Lato yung parang maliit na mangga na green. No, but does it look like a mango? But it's a seaweed.
No,
It's a
no.
seaweed.
Lato looks like grapes. They're really tiny grapes.
Green grapes.
Yeah, so imagine vines.
And you bite them, it tastes of the sea. It's like salty, sharp.
It's like those popping things in milk tea that when you pop it and there's a fruity flavor. So it's like that, but it's a salty flavor inside that pops out.
Do you mean like sago?
Boba. There's that new boba thing that pops. And
I mean, I wouldn't
it's filled with
know.
the flavor.
I don't like milk tea. But yes, Jay agrees. Sea grapes. Okay,
Yes.
so Tobias. Wait, but that's unfair because this is still like recognizable things. Toby, explain your food combinations.
So there's chocolate covered almonds with Mang Tomas.
Sonic was just chocolate and almonds, so that we stopped. But no, with Mang Tomas.
There's
Okay.
there's chippy with bubblegum.
What bubblegum even?
Bazooka.
It has to be bazooka.
It has to be bazooka. That's the perfect flavor profile.
Oh my god, who says
I
that's a
tried it
perfect
with Big
flavor?
Boy. It doesn't work. Big Boy loses the flavor too soon.
I like this elitism that Bazooka not the same as Big Boy. You Big Boy.
Yeah, so stuff like that.
Peanut butter and
Anything.
including hot dogs.
Yes. Everyone's what? Why? Okay, I'm feeling judged. Let's move forward. And for people who knew I have beer that has extra jaws, that should have already given you.
Mitch tries
A
to
warning.
hand wave it away and says, "Oh, salt and sweet combo." I suppose that's
They-
his justification.
They
to me
are.
also.
They are salt and sweet combo, but they also have awesome texture mixtures.
Yeah.
So like with chippy, so it's crunchy, chewy, but then you have the small salty bits.
How can you eat anything with bubble gum?
Well,
Because you're not supposed to swallow the bubble gum.
that's the trick. You don't swallow the bubble gum, but when you're chewing, you get the chippy, and then
What is this two stomach theory? I don't know. Okay.
what is this blasphemy? Okay, moving forward. This one might get me in trouble. Rocky is a bigger fan of LGBT media.
We didn't know how to call it,
This-
but then it's not just BL. It's like I've always been the one to like.
Gay film.
I watch distinctly gay
Mm.
movies and gay TV shows, like was it EastEnders, Eastsiders on Netflix
Or
and stuff.
queer as folk.
Queer as folk. Toby's
Yeah.
never really got into queer as folk.
And it's not limited to just shows. This includes books.
Yes.
This includes magazines.
I punish myself and
Mm.
tried to read David Levithan stuff and whatever.
And this is not that I don't. That's not that I'm against such media. I just don't find myself that engaged. I guess.
And I don't even say like I super like it, but
Mhm.
then like I always want to give it like a fair shake and like see what they're doing and what
Mm.
stories they're trying to tell. And so I put so much effort into watching, which is
Yeah.
also why I still watch BL stuff.
I guess in my case, I kind of still like such stories being just stories. For example, Broken Hearts Club compared to Queer as Folk. I don't know. Maybe I just don't like too much focusing on certain aspects compared to others. And
Maybe
Yeah.
you don't like the stereotypical club circuit scene,
but at the same
shows.
time, I guess it's also because I'm a huge fan of romantic comedies.
Which is the only reason why I thought it was okay to make Toby watch Game Boys, because it
Yes.
still had a rom-com structure to it.
mhm.
But then like the other stuff, like Gaya sa Pelikula or Hello Stranger, like oh no, it even I mean I felt like this is not Toby stuff. Okay.
Yeah, but even like Tales in the City, I enjoyed. Once you got me to watch the shows.
That's true, but that was also like there was like some context I had to give around that.
Yes,
And like
that's true.
this is the setting, and like you gotta explain. Okay, and then catching up on people, Mitch is like a thing for red kiamoy after a bite, then drink very cold water. That
Oh.
makes aftertaste.
Oh, wait,
okay.
I'll get you ice.
Okay.
I'll get myself ice. Look at me.
Noel shares he has a friend who puts ketchup on everything. Sinigang nilaga gulunggong.
Oh
my God.
Ketchup on rice is the bomb.
I knew someone who was like super addicted to ketchup. So their ketchup philosophy was like for every McDonald's French fry, it was practically one packet of ketchup. It was like toothpaste along the entire entire fry, and then would eat it that way. Jed says dessert at the same time having the main dish. That's not bad. At least it's not strange food combinations.
Does anyone have coffee on rice?
Coffee on rice? That sounds like things you do to kids.
I did that. I enjoyed that.
I didn't do that. The most I could do was coffee, dipping bread into coffee. Okay. Nico asks the question, chipping in another question. Between the two of us, who likes silence more?
Quiet times.
I don't know. I mean, like, because to be fair, Toby and I are quiet together a lot. Like I can be reading and he'll be writing maybe,
Or watching people die.
or watching horror movies on his computer, and I don't want to watch it. So I don't know if that counts as silence, but
Do you need more water?
not yet.
Okay.
Okay. Um, questions while waiting for Toby. Um, Jed asks, "Are you Bisaya?"
Me, no.
No, very much no.
I
Um,
was raised by one though.
Mitch agrees. Coffee and rice with peanuts.
Oh, so that's like, you know, I was about to
Nasi
say,
goreng.
yeah, that was like that.
Nasi lemak.
Which is, no, which even has bagoong.
Coffee and rice with tuyo.
Oh, okay, that's very champorado levels now.
Wow. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Okay. Okay. So what's next on our list?
We have.
Oh, in
games.
contrast to yeah, no, but you should talk about your romantic comedy thing.
Oh yeah, so huge fan of rom-coms. I like rom-coms when the romance is at par with the comedy. If it's more just romance than comedy, I don't like it. I don't like it when it's too sappy.
Like, what's an example of a rom com that had too much romance versus comedy? I would like to. I would like to explain this difference to people.
Many of the oh my god, I can't remember her name. Pretty Woman.
Julia Roberts.
Many of the Julia Roberts
After
supposed
Pretty Woman.
supposedly rom-coms,
So what's Notting Hill? Too romance.
a bit too romance. Yeah, I'm not that much a fan of Notting Hill.
Instead, what are the peak
I'd be-
shows
I'd
that
be-
Toby prefers?
I'm less Notting Hill. I'm more
Ayan, Noel is also asking, what's your favorite rom com?
my Sassy Girl.
Ah, yeah.
The original Korean.
He made me watch this, and then I'm like,
Yes.
why are we watching
That
this?
is followed by, um, most likely, if not, You Got Mail.
A classic. But there are a lot of romance.
Yeah, but it was still more comedy and romance than Sleepless in Seattle, which was more romance. Than
That's
comedy.
true. See, this is Alice, super emo.
Mhm.
And then what else? Any other things in your top 3 list of rom coms?
There's 10 Things I Hate About You.
Okay, that's a classic. That's a classic.
Um,
Mitch asked Korean version. Yes, the
Yes,
original
the
My
Korean
Sassy
version.
Girl. Then he made me watch it. Then I'm like, why are we watching this
Mhm.
Korean thing?
And then Windstruck became a bit more romance than comedy, so it wasn't as fun. Yeah.
And then he's made me watch weird things like, what was that Snow White one?
Oh, Sydney White. Sydney White's awesome.
Because Toby just like say, hi ho.
Oh, the dog got angry.
What was the other stupid thing you made me watch? I mean, like in that era, it was like Sydney White, and there was this one other one. Oh, I can't remember. These are early years. I'm like, what are these things you're making me watch?
Was this the one with the good luck and bad luck?
Oh my God, yes, the Chris Pine one.
Yes.
Ah, I don't know what's worse, the horror movies or the rom com. Sometimes it's like
But that's me.
that's Toby.
Which is, I guess the biggest balance for us was Enchanted.
Okay, but we've never really watched it together.
Yeah. But it
We
was
just watched it before we were together.
but it was kind of like the rom-com-y.
because it was more musical.
Yes. So
And I can get into Disney.
it was kind of our middle ground, and we're like, oh.
Because then it goes, how does he know you
Yeah.
love her? Okay.
Okay, so yeah, so that's me and rom-coms. It's even more awesome if you can find rom-com horrors, which are not often.
Rom-com horrors.
Um,
Noel was citing he's just not into you and Love Actually.
yes.
But Love Actually, I feel is too romance.
Yeah, it's a bit more romance, Love Actually. I laugh only at the fact that, Rick Grimes is there. And I always imagine him doing that science before he has
And
to
then
fight the
zombies.
zombies.
Chris Pine and Lindsay Lohan. Yes, that
Just
one.
my luck. Just my luck?
Whatever. I think just my luck.
Yeah.
Ah, my God. Okay. Next.
Next is this where it gets interesting. Lighter games and heavier games.
Okay, this is under protest. We were talking about this. So this is referring to board games. And then, I mean, this is not to say I don't like heavy games. I will still play through the
Mhm.
ages and whatever, all these long games that we have.
Mhm.
But I guess given the choice, I would like to play more variety of games.
Mm-mm. My attempt to define this was if you would play 5 games straight, 5 heavy games or 5 lighter games. And I know I'm the type who would go heavy, heavy, heavy. I'm fine.
In this pandemic, no. But I would want to play lighter games because then we get to play more games. And,
Wait, why is your answer different from earlier? Your answer earlier was 5 long games and full and lose to you.
that was the other thing. Okay, heavy games is an increased likelihood of losing to Toby.
Hey, that's not true.
It is.
Are you like basing this on statistics?
Yes. I have game stats to prove it that Toby wins more than.
But this is
I
only
do.
when it's just the two of us. When it's groups, it's rare that I win.
Only because I must gather everyone together to
See?
defeat
So
you.
you finally admit that you manipulate everyone else to fight
I
me.
don't manipulate everyone. I
Guide.
plainly say in open the goal is to defeat Toby.
So there's always those moments wherein the guy's having a turn choosing, then Rocky looks and looks at me. You know, you should buy that one. And I'm like, that's blocking my move.
It's a good strategy for the player at the time, I'm sure. It's just 2 birds with 1 stone. If it also dings Toby. So yeah. So
Oh my gosh.
I don't know.
Pico, your question on anime, we will answer that in a bit. But yeah, sticking to it though, in terms of lighter games, well, there are also like games like Flux and the like, which you are very fascinated with.
I like the randomness of
Mhm.
it. I definitely do. And then I mean, so then I'm the one I've gotten into
Mhm.
like a lot of these novelties like Gloom. Then I super like point games, which are not necessarily all short, but then they're just all like quirky, fascinating. So yeah, fold it. No. My Bene Gesserit, almost correct spelling, but it's 2 words. Bene Gesserit. Okay.
Yeah. So moving on, and we're keeping this monetization.
Andre,
friendly.
I agree. I just give people options.
Sorry, what was it? You have to.
He
read
just
that.
says, binigyan lang sila ni Rocky ng options, 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 options. Yes, I just give options that,
But
are
never
in
the
that direction.
options that block him.
Well, that would be foolish. Why would I block myself? It's part of the game, guys.
So
It's
should I
part
start?
of the
So
game.
should I start doing that? Giving them suggestions that will ultimately block you.
You can't because you're too focused on watching everybody following the rules.
That's true.
That's Toby's main distraction in any board game.
'Cause it's-
he is like rules lawyering.
Because it's all well. I'm not rules lawyering. I am just very annoyed when after a game session we discover we played it wrong. I mean, remember when we were playing Forbidden Desert, and it was only after I think those like 7 or 8 tries that
Almost
we,
10
that we
games.
finally win, and we're so proud of ourselves. And then we discover we've been playing it wrong.
We were playing at an unintentionally harder difficulty because we forgot that hiding in the shade of the tunnels.
Lasts until the start of your next.
No, and
turn.
then tunnels are shade that
Yes,
protect
and-
you from the sun.
And oh my god, so it's stuff like that which makes you feel like a lot of your other sessions are invalidated, and any of the wins there are not wins really, and all that. Okay, so Pico, major rapid defeat Toby. But yes, we will get to your anime question later.
Yeah.
For now, though, keeping this monetization friendly, when it comes to guys, excuse me. See?
Already wrong.
I told Rocky he's married to a child. When it comes to guys,
Well, we defined this as O-bar dancers. And we're trying to like, what do we have differences in like O-bar dancer preference?
well, generally speaking, when it comes to physical qualities,
I guess.
because
Can
over
I get
dancers,
tissue?
because over dancers as a definition is pretty much physical.
Yeah,
qualities.
because
We're
they
not-
represent physical archetypes.
we're not thinking of them as getting to know them in a personal level.
But I
and-
have gotten to know them
Yeah,
on a personal
yeah.
level. Okay.
so Rocky likes them more moreno.
For lack of a better term, like I didn't know how to describe it, but I think I like them distinctly average Filipino.
Mhm.
Because I'm not the type na I don't like them super fair. I don't like them chinito. I mean it's not that I don't like it, but it's not something I look for.
You find yourself more drawn
I guess.
to people
To
with
peeper.
more local complexion,
Yeah.
more local features.
I don't know. Then how does this explain this?
Well, that's also because you like kids.
No. Hey, we said we wouldn't talk about this.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. See, I'm kidding.
Oh my god. Noel says men who can dance and sing. To be fair, yes,
Well-
talent is
Well,
important.
talent is a huge turn on, regardless of appearance.
Yeah. Hence, the people we support. At
But
all.
when it comes to two people who can dance and sing, and one of them's Moreno, you lean towards the Moreno.
I think so, yes. That's why your favorite dancer was like your favorite dancer
Yes.
for a while, right?
Yes,
Okay.
the previous favorite dancer.
Yes, the previous year.
Yeah. So in my case, I admittedly I like them hairier. I like guys who are, I guess, rougher or more brutish to look at. Because I don't like them hairy but manscaped. You know how you have people whose mustache and beards are like super trimmed and super.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like that.
Okay.
I still prefer it looking much more
Which,
rough.
then it doesn't explain us because I am not super hairy. Um, I've only grown this over quarantine, so what does that say?
I'm pale enough that people actually think I use whitening products.
Strange.
When we went to the province, I was called yung batang maputi.
Kuting asking abs or tubs. I mean, me, I don't necessarily look for it, but I guess I lean to the skinnier side of things. Toby definitely likes bigger guys.
Mm-hmm. Bigger.
In that
heftier.
sense, I did well. No, check.
But I think ultimately physical has always been a secondary bonus as far as attraction for us.
Yeah. I
Because
mean, that's not a thing.
And we've also talked about people who we find attractive.
And it's not because of their appearance.
And it doesn't necessarily lock onto appearance.
No, I was like, it doesn't like men who don't have armpit hair and plakadong kilay.
I agree,
I get
Noel.
that.
The lack of
Or
armpit,
tiny nipples.
the lack of armpit hair bothers me.
Yeah,
when I see
that's
men.
weird. That's weird.
I know some think it's a sanitary thing that you're keeping it cleaner supposedly, but again, that idea that hair is dirty doesn't work for me.
I mean, if you're a hot guy who does drag, then I understand.
Yes.
Like, then you must shave your armpits, I guess, for drag. That's
Mhm.
fine. But then, yeah. Beyond that, don't know. Next.
keeping this monetization friendly, we're not talking about. Rocky loves musicals and theater, and it's not that I don't like them. It's just that you like
It was
them
really a thing.
so much
It's
more than I did. Whereas I was so much more into conspiracy, weird.
I like how this
um,
became our contraposition for that. Like, conspiracy theory shows. And
Well, admittedly, I was the one who
Toby
was,
says weird history, and I argue it's
not history. And that's okay. I agree. But I am a sucker for alternate theories, for stupid theories. I know they're not real. I love the idea of imagining what if they were, because I just love the thought process of where would it go. Like the idea that what if plants were fully logical and conscious and literally have been having debates on how to wipe us out because we've been eating them for God knows how long. That for me is a fun thought process.
I would only be worried if you were like a high school teacher.
Rocky, on the other hand, was the reason I got into musicals and theater. It wasn't that I hated or didn't like them.
No,
It's
but
just
then
that
I would
didn't-
like, let's go watch.
and I didn't take the effort. For me, I would be
That's
happy
true.
if I could watch, but if I couldn't, then fine.
Yeah, I started dragging Toby out on regular theater dates. Like we are pre-pandemic, we would always have a full rep subscription for the regular season, so that's
Mhm.
3 straight plays, and then maybe the children's musical, depending on the musical, and then we'll watch most of Atlantis' run throughout the year. A lot of Son of Upstart, whatever. I put a lot of money into that. I've saved money this year.
I think for me, that was part of the reason why I wasn't really into it before. I wasn't sure which ones to watch. So not knowing what to choose.
and I'm like, let's watch the whole season.
Exactly.
Let's just watch it.
and more than that, you were let's watch the whole season, but at the same time, oh, you have to see these.
Ah,
And then we
yeah.
dig them up.
There's
or-
normally like, let's watch the whole season, but I'm really excited about this play because it's this.
On my case, the weird conspiracy stuff and the like, I get to inject them in games, and that's where Rocky finds himself, exposed to them. or
Aliens.
into- And I think the closest you got into liking it was when it was presented in comics, Planetary
That's true.
Authority.
That's true.
That's when you found it in a medium that you appreciated more. And not to mention, Planetary connected all these conspiracies to comics themselves.
Yeah,
So
it
that-
got very meta, guys. So yeah, good job, Planetary. Awesome. Murder. What's this? Could they say murder mystery to conspiracy theories? Or
I'm not so much into murder stories like whodunits, but I do appreciate a good whodunit.
although I've been making Toby watch a lot of true crime.
No, I mean, that's fine because that still feels like conspiracy and the like. But let's say
True crime is not conspiracy.
I mean, let's put it this way.
It's forensics. It's who done it.
Yeah, but it's not whodunit like I never got into Agatha Christie,
Okay, fine.
but I did enjoy Knives Out and the like. See,
Which is a celebration of the who done it
yeah,
genre.
exactly. And I guess that's it. I'm just. I guess it's if the food thing was exposure, it's the same for me. I need them all to become movies so I can watch them better because I can't read them.
Whatever.
That side of makes sense.
Whatever.
Okay, moving forward, let's tackle the other one only because it's been mentioned by Pico, and that is anime.
In your highlight, that is not
No,
anime what you're
Yeah,
highlighting.
I'm not even using my glasses. I did not write it down. But anime, we were talking about how our exposure to anime was both in their own ways and the margins. So like I had a larger exposure to the older school of anime, so that's Ranma 1/2, Macross, Robotech, Gunbuster,
My
Goddess,
anime exposure peaked with AXN
Mhm.
in the late 90s, early 2000s. But not much beyond that. I don't know. It's just it's never super gripped me. But then like recently, okay, then I watched One Punch Man because okay. But like Attack on Titan I couldn't get into. Things like that.
We tried the Cells at Work. We found that
It's
fun,
cute. It's cute.
but
It's cute.
it still didn't grip us as much as we thought it would.
Yeah, it was passive watching. It's like things you could watch in the background.
And
But then like
you're still a huge Full Metal Alchemist.
Full Metal Alchemist, I still like Cookie Master Boy. If
Mm.
they ever really take that up again, that's awesome.
And then I still have my leanings towards Ninja Scroll.
I don't know.
Ghost in the Shell, I only appreciated the earlier original movies.
See, I still haven't finished my attempts to watch the Ghost in the Shell stuff or Neon Genesis Evangelion. I still haven't watched all of it on Netflix. Things like that. But then there are like things like about exposure where it's not even about I didn't like it, but I just had no exposure. Like
It was harder to find.
I only watched Studio Ghibli when we got together, which is kind of weird. But the whole time I had never seen a Studio Ghibli movie on my own.
And then me, now that anime is so accessible, I feel kind of overwhelmed with all the choices. So I've never really seen many of the Gundam stuff, which is suddenly such hot property and people are so into it. I've never really seen the newer Macross stuff. So you have Macross Plus, Macross,
And just all the stuff that's on Netflix that people are always talking
Yeah.
about. Like I don't know.
So like now there's those I forgot what it was called. There was a genre term for it wherein they go on adventures to cook the creatures they meet or something. It's a cooking analog.
I don't.
Or the guy who's reborn like a slime and all this stuff. We haven't seen those. So that's something we can look into in the future.
Yeah, we'll see. Sure, Jan.
Okay, going now into personal effects and stuff. So Rocky tends to have his gadgets, electronic devices.
This is again an item under protest. Because then he was like, it's your Omni gadgets. And it's not. My Fitbit is very specialized.
How many Fitbits have you had?
That's because I wear them out.
How many Fitbits have you had?
I've only had like 3.
Okay, next gadget. Your tablets.
My Kindle is different. My Kindle is important because it doesn't access to my library.
How many Kindles have you had?
I've broken a few, okay? I've stepped on one. I've nearly lost one on a plane, and I immediately ordered a replacement before I got it back on the plane. Things like that. But I think I've had at least 4 Kindles, 5.
Tablets now?
You're the one with the iPad. That's all I'm going to say.
Tablets now?
I tried only one tablet.
The notebook thing.
Yeah, that was the triple E transformer.
Didn't you have the other one? The Windows tablet thing?
No. I only had the triple E because it locked me into a dock. And then you were making fun of it that it pretended to be a laptop. You know. I was trying to be practical, guys.
I've had
Like,
2 iPads. I've had 3 cell phones.
So I'm not a gadget person.
But I've had my
I don't need the latest phone.
But I've had my share of weird leather strap bracelets, pendants.
Yeah, Toby's like accessories is more his thing.
I was for a time into multiple rings. I had ear cuffs. I did have ear
Drinking
piercings as well in the past. I used to in college be the guy with multiple pendants. I like had around 8-9 pendants at the same time. And there was also my thing for watches. I liked having watches. I like checking time on a watch. I was not a person who enjoyed looking at my phone to check the time.
I've always had a watch. Then I replaced it with a Fitbit at one point because I was tracking my steps.
Yeah.
So that's still my solo accessory. See, nothing. Okay, we can move on.
When that is the topic of our next item. Rocky likes being the passenger, and I love to drive.
This sounds terrible to me. I don't think this reflects on me well.
Wait. Noel asks, what? No tattoos?
We have no tattoos.
No, we have no tattoos.
And it's not for I mean, admittedly, it's like I feel like I wouldn't mind a tattoo, but analysis paralysis, I have no idea what to put. I don't know what I am willing to commit to put on my skin forever and ever. Plus, there's my weight. So I always used to think that as I get bigger or smaller, then it's not gonna look great.
Wait, really quickly jumping back to comments. Mitch asks, anyone know Julio and Julia? I think that's Julie and Julia.
I don't know, unless it's an anime. Because we were talking about anime at the time.
Yeah, sorry, we don't know that.
Yeah, we only know Julia and Julia.
Devilman, we tried watching the new Netflix one. We didn't quite.
No, you
get
did.
it.
I didn't.
Oh, you didn't? Okay. Ghost in the Shell, of course.
We tried watching the new Ghost in the Shell, and then it already felt
Yeah,
weird.
I was struggling to enjoy that one. I still hate why it's not as good as the original one.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Matching tattoos would be interesting, says Kuting. I don't know. I'm not committed enough.
I think ultimately we just don't know what we would like as a design that would keep forever.
Mm-hmm. But like on a strictly objective standpoint, I have this weird fixation with I like arm tattoos that peek beyond your sleeve, but not when I can see it fully. I don't know. It's more interesting when it's like half in, half out. Thank you for getting the can opener. Up.
Yeah, I realized though I gave you the fake eyes.
Well, that's fine. I don't mind the fake eyes. No, I don't have the fake eyes.
It's not a fake eye.
No.
Oh, I thought it was a fake eyes. Okay. What weapons in any RPG game, literally anything, do you guys like and dislike? Ooh. I think both of us have a joy for words as being deadly weapons. Whether it's your words can spark fear and terror into the other person when you say the right thing.
I'm pretty sure Pico meant like computer-based RPGs, but sure.
Well, if it were a computer-based RPG, what then would you choose?
I don't know. I think in my experience, people who use staffs and sticks tend to be like very annoying. Whereas people with swords are like okay.
Given the fact we play Dynasty Warriors, I think my favorite weapon would still be the brush.
You just like because it's pretty, but it's not practical.
It's not practical at all. But the fact you can swirl and draw
Madai
is always fun. In terms of what I hate, in terms of weapons, I hate hand-to-hand combat. I hate the boring punches and kicks. I'd rather have ribbons. I'd rather have yo-yos or something like that.
Although, as far as Dynasty Warrior is concerned, I hate it when your weapon is like a bow or a crossbow. Then it's like kind of stupid. Then it's like, they try to make up for it by like splitting it into three
Mm.
or five, but
Or at least like what's the name?
but it barely hits well because it always hits like directly
Mhm.
straight and then like 45 degrees
Mhm.
apart.
There is that Beyonce character who
So wrong.
who
Because
nicely
she's just like
throws all those
fire and
feathers.
knives. They're knives. They're not feathers. They're knives.
But yeah, going back, you prefer to be the passenger in the vehicle.
Yes.
It allows you to read.
Also, driving stresses me out.
Mhm. I prefer to drive because not being in charge of the vehicle stresses me out. I hate it when people drive too fast. I hate it when people drive too slow.
Toby likes being in control in the car.
Yes.
Oh, David shares he's not ink, but he has an idea of Everest, the quadratic formula. True fact, quadratic formula used to be my terrible way to justify that I wasn't drunk. But this was high school.
Because you will be able to stay.
Because I can still recite my full name, which is quite long, and the quadratic formula. Therefore, I am not drunk, which is exactly what a drunk person would say over and over. I was just a drunk nerd.
As to your formula, David, we will wait for the day you can show us where you want it. Moving forward, before math becomes non-monetizable. Music. So I'm super into Tori Amos. Rocky never got into Tori Amos. I was very much into, I guess I'll just lump them as rave music because it wasn't necessarily EDM. But it had a lot of EDM roots.
Yes.
But I was pretty much into rave music in my younger years. So house was actually odd for me until I got into Obar. And then you.
My music formative years were very, very straight guy
Use the restroom.
alternative rock in the early 2000s. So like
Yeah, aside some.
yeah. My main basis for like because before I only used to listen to show tunes and classical music. Then I figured like I should try to get into more conventional music. So I listened to MTV Alternative Nation. That first Alternative Nation album defined a lot of the early artists I explored. So that includes Bush, Blur, No Doubt, Jamiroquai, even Kula Shaker, things like that. And then later on, like Fuel and of course New Radicals, and there was definitely a pop influence to it. And then eventually, because I started clubbing in 2003, then I got very much into house music and sort of gay anthems. So I'm very, very much into what we now know to be like classic Malate music. It's because I've been going to Malate since 2003. So what can I do?
So for me, I had my first few musical super idols other than the Quacky is a duck song.
That doesn't count.
So I was a huge Madonna fan because of I think the album was Blue.
Is that the one with Rain? No, I don't know. I don't know her discography.
Other than Madonna, I was also into Michael Jackson a lot. I didn't dance. I wasn't into the dances, but I was so fascinated with the music videos, and that made me love the music so much.
Oh, in terms of music videos, because I wasn't super into like popular music, but I super liked the Pet Shop Boys because their music videos were very trippy and a lot later on computer graphic-y, like Go West and stuff. And so I super got into that.
I had my share of I don't know what to call it, but it's basically The Cure, Spandau Ballet, and like because my brother was super into them, so I was into that song, those kinds of music again. When I started to find my own music, the stuff I love, that's when Tori Amos comes in early. And around the same time of Tori Amos with Little Earthquakes and Under the Pink, I was very into a diverse set of music, everything from Right Said Fred to
Right Said Fred.
George Michael. And oh my gosh, what was the name of that group? Oh, I can't remember the name of the group.
Did it have the guy with the girl?
I can't remember the name of the group.
The guy who was singing.
Oh, there you go. Enigma.
Wow!
And with my introduction to Enigma,
to be fair, I like Enya.
I got into Enya.
Okay.
Because of Enigma. And after I got into Enya, I stopped listening to Enigma. But yeah, so those were the kind of music I was listening to a lot. And a lot of that was also shaped by the fact I use music when I run role playing games.
Yeah.
And this was literally using cassette tapes to play the music. And then when the scene
And
is
you'd
still,
record mixes
Mhm.
of your own.
or like I'll record the tape, the song over and over, so that if I needed to flip the tape, it's still the same song. And I'd have multiple tapes. It was crazy, but that was me. So I only started getting into more anthems and the like because of Obar.
Mm.
And that's when I started to also loosen up and stop worrying about what people will think. Because remember, even back then when I was starting to go to Obar, I was
You
still in
were
the closet.
technically were closeted. Yes.
So I was still very selective of what I allowed people to see me enjoy.
Mm.
All right.
Growth, guys. Growth.
With that connects to the next one, which is you distinctly liked specific classical music.
Oh, sorry. Wait. Good thing it's like mixtapes or mix CDs. Both.
Both. Actually, I already threw them away quite recently, within this year. But there were some CDs I kept that were literally soundtracks of specific campaigns I ran. Because I used to have, when you could burn CDs, that's when I started to realize I could burn MP3 CDs.
Yes.
So I could have folders for specific parts of the story arc, and they would have specific songs for that story arc. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, then we're talking about classic. So I had a. It is funny because Toby's like he likes orchestral music, and like then that's not something we're different because I like classical
Mm.
music. But then the difference became, I would say, because I listened to Mahler and to Vivaldi.
And me, it was specific soundtracks of specific movies.
Yeah,
But it
so
wasn't necessarily.
I had the
classical
upbringing to
composer.
appreciate the composers, and then Toby
Yes.
just liked arrangements.
I only realized Carmen was Carmen much later in life. I used to just think of it as the song of the orange.
He still calls it the orange song. It's not always automatically be Carmen. It's like the one on the Sesame Street orange.
And then you have other songs where I'd be like, oh yeah, it's the it's the Vangelis song, or it's the Arthurian song used in that movie. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, it's always in the context of movie soundtracks for him.
Mhm.
Pico asks, and I don't know if there's a like or dislike, but academic subjects, what did you like and dislike?
Oh, I was thinking of adding that to this list earlier.
Okay, but then let's find out. What did you like?
Are we sticking to just standard subjects, meaning high school, college? Because in college you get weird subjects and electives.
Let's start with high school standard subjects. What the hell, college?
What did I enjoy in school?
Obviously, I enjoyed English or its subversion in grade school, reading.
I didn't enjoy English. But then again, I think it's because of how it was approached when I was in school.
What was wrong with the approach there, we ask?
There was a specific way you should read things.
But that's okay. But that's literary appreciation.
Yeah, and I sort of found myself always conflicted. I was one of those students who, the room had blue curtains because he was sad. And I'm like, no, it's just blue. And it got me into trouble a lot.
I mean, I get that. I question some of the level of detail we've scrutinized, like the works of Rizal. It gets kind of crazy. Like, is everything a metaphor? Really? Really? Really?
I was super into science when I was in high school. To the point that I convinced a friend to have me slip into his class just to do the frog dissection again. Yeah. And that was one of the instances wherein we didn't pin the frog down enough. So when we did the chloroform thing supposedly to kill it or something.
No, to knock it out. That's what chloroform
But then when we
does.
cut it open, it broke free. And it started hopping around, leaving stuff.
Oh no.
And I was like laughing the whole time. But that was me as a kid because I love horror.
Yeah, totally like that. Okay.
College was where I enjoyed reading English type of subjects because it was now all, how do you interpret this? How do you all read this? I will admit, though, that one of my favorite subjects was an elective, as electives tend to be the better subjects in college. But it was writing for children's television under Tony Perez. Um,
Mm.
because we did not focus on writing for children's television. What Tony Perez taught us, and it's something I've been always stating ever since, was he wanted to help us understand the meaning of emotional truth. Because it's only when you write with emotional truth will something you wrote for kids connect with kids.
Oh, okay. That's
So
interesting.
it included weird, um, every person had like 10-15 minutes. Do something that's emotionally true.
Mm.
So some would do a dance number. Some would do interpretative, emotional, this and that. Some would monologue about how much they love this person or how much they hate their parents and stuff like that. And for the first part, a lot of us, we were going through it. Tony was like, "Stop! You're acting. Stop!
Ooh.
That's fake." And then later on, we just started, being open, being exposed, and wow, it was an amazing class. I'm not sure if it has made me a better writer. I'd like to think it has. You?
I mean, yeah, English was definitely it was always like my go-to. Like I always do
Even
well
in college?
in English. Yeah, because by college it was humanities, and
Mm.
I super loved it. And I'm still friends with my humanities professor on Twitter, at least. That's where I got into Murakami and to Einstein's Dreams and things like that. And I guess math. I mean, I haven't always been great at it.
What was
but
your fascination with math? Was it the puzzle to solve?
To some degree, and then the reliability, especially later on, like when you're getting into higher math, and then like you have formulas, and then when you apply the formulas,
And it just all
and it
works.
works. Oh, and derivatives. Oh my god! I feel bad. I've probably forgotten how to do derivatives, but
I think it will click in the moment you have to do one.
I I still have a copy of my TC. My TC7 from college is here. I've saved my copy of TC7, which is the Calculus 7th edition.
I'd like to think that a lot of these things just click in once you need to. I mean, we were playing the homemade exit game when suddenly I remembered this weird
But that's
cipher.
not something you learned in school. That's something because you learned you're into conspiracy theories.
But it really shocked me as well when I was looking at it and I was like, wait a minute, I know this. And then I started sketching. And then, yeah, I guess it's just like that. There was a question from Pico, most favorite life hacks that you like doing.
Baking soda. Everything baking soda.
Rubbing alcohol.
That's my number one. That is not a life hack. That's just Toby. That's just a Philippinism.
Okay.
Hey Nick,
My
welcome to the stream.
my actual life hack that I do like still using is the hack on how to make sure your clothes don't roll out when you're in a tucked-in clothing outfit. And I will not explain how that is, but we did that for the wedding.
I don't remember this.
I'll leave it that way. It's a secret. I shall get you more ice and another water.
Another coat of water. Yeah, sure.
But you can quickly explain to Nick what's going on.
Yeah, Nikki. We're the original topic was things that you like that your partner does not like. So we are kind of doing that. We're contrasting things that one of us likes way more than the other. You've missed many things.
What's next on the list?
I've been staring at it for a while. I don't know what I want to
mention it.
talk about. It's okay. It's
Next
okay.
topic,
No, it's fine. It's fine. Toby's analogy is that so Toby is super into swimming. I still don't know how to swim. And then I tried to learn how to swim, but it's just not working. I feel like I don't float. So that's me. In contrast, I really I enjoyed my tap dancing PE class. And I can still do most of the basic moves for tap.
Share the basics.
I mean the easy ones like a shuffle and a flop.
What's a shuffle and what's a pull up?
Shuffle is just when you brush your toe back and forth. So that's a That's a shuffle. A flop is similar, but you land. So it's a brush and a landing. Ball change, of course, is when you tap both feet so you can change ball. What your active foot position is. Um, Hop goes without saying. It's just jumping on one foot. And then it sounds stupid on its own, but then when it comes together, then like there's things like the Irish, where it looks like you're doing an Irish jig because that's a shuffle hop full up ball change, and then and you can do it going forward or going back. So yeah, this was my PE class for one time, and then it was super awesome, and I regret that my tap shoes died in storage, and like if there was a way, I would totally do it again. Because I think it's like a full realization of me being a theater nerd that I at least can do rudimentary tap. Kino asks the tap dance for you. No, I am not drunk enough for that. But I have done tap at Obar.
Yes.
Not like as a show, but at the table while we're drunk, and like I will tap dance. So,
Sadly, I don't think Nico was there when you did that.
I don't know. He's not here now, so I'm safe. He has a
think-
meeting.
I think Nick was so.
Maybe.
When you got the camera.
Oh, sorry. Good thing reassures me. Some people are natural floaters, while others are natural sinkers. I totally agree with that, because this whole relax, let your limbs stretch out, and then as you open your eyes, you'll be above the water. You can breathe. I open my eyes, I'm underwater. And then or like when you're trying to learn freestyle, and what the frack? It's really like and then you'll just gently turn your head and you'll
Mhm.
breathe as you turn. I turn my head, I'm underwater. So
I was very into swimming thanks to my dad. Even at a very young age, excuse me, my dad wanted me to learn to swim. And since I was also the problematic second child, the best way to teach me to swim was to pick me up and then throw me to the pool, because he knew I knew the basics to keep from drowning. And I would be kicking and I would be crying and I'd be complaining, and he'd be like just waiting for me. And the moment I get to the side enough to climb back up, he'll pick me up again and throw me back in the middle. And it was only after enough time of doing that I stopped being maarte. And I just kept kicking and realized I'm fine. I'm not sinking. And then from that point on, I really got into swimming. I got into it competitively, to the point that there were some contests I was part of, and in one of them, I was supposed to win. But then the person behind me had a cramp. And since we were swimming in lanes,
oh my god, I just realized Martin's here, and
It
both
was-
Noel and Martin want to see me
cool.
tap.
It was the deep part of the pool, and the guy cramped, and suddenly he just, vanished into the water. So rather than keep swimming, I turned back, I grabbed him from underwater, and I pulled him to the side. So whoever was third place won. But, that's,
So noble.
that was the last
Such
time
a
I
hero.
competed. But yeah.
Nikki was asking, like, are there game shows, movie that you disagree on? You missed us talking about horror, rom-coms, and the like.
But game shows. Are there any game shows that you like and I don't?
I don't know.
I'm
Because
thinking also.
I think there are a certain range of reality show stuff that you watch that I'm not into. I think.
Okay, I'm really enjoying Fooled Us,
Yeah.
but you don't really bother to watch it.
No,
You,
no.
you don't
I don't.
mind. You don't mind watching.
I don't
over
have the
sometimes.
patience for. I'm not into it.
Yeah.
I'm not super into it. Martin also shares two older brothers who would throw him into the pool,
Mm.
and then relates to problematic second children.
Yes, we second children keep trying to fight for our place in the spotlight.
Not game shows. Game show. Hey, it worked, right? We talked about it. So, he pointed out, like, I never really like talked about Lost, for example, because I got into Lost late. I was very skeptical of it. And it was like, okay. I mean, I understand why Toby likes it, but yeah, I don't like it as much as Toby does.
Mhm.
In the same way that Toby had little to no exposure to Star Trek before me.
Mhm.
So
And even if I do enjoy Star Trek, I still don't enjoy it as much as Rocky does. So
yeah. So he's not always paying attention when we're watching.
mhm, that's true. That's how it
I'm
is.
trying to expose him to the wonders of this utopian society. You know?
Well, then you need to be exposed to Saw.
I don't need to be exposed to Saw.
So you'll be exposed to the wonders of this utopian society.
That is not a utopian society. That is a terrible non-choice.
Depends on who you ask.
Only if you're the puppet person on the bike. Sure.
That's Jigsaw. Yeah, so moving forward, to stick to the list, we talk about video games.
Yeah, so we have different interests in terms of games. And I don't know why Toby doesn't want to give me puzzle. Okay, my primary interest for adventure games and later on action RPGs, and I
Okay.
still argue puzzle platformers like the Lego games.
Okay, puzzle platformers.
Yeah, no,
But
but
not-
I also Island of Dr. Brain. Wow.
But like puzzle games.
Because adventure games are full of puzzles.
Yes, but they're different from puzzle games like Dr. Mario,
Does that count as a puzzle game?
Tetris.
Dr. Mario?
Yeah, those are puzzle games.
Dr. Mario? I mean, of course I played Tetris. We already talked about how long I played brick games, right? I don't know. But yeah, so and then I got super into Diablo,
Mhm.
to that action RPG genre.
And
But
a lot-
for me, it's a social experience. I
Mhm.
don't have as much fun playing Diablo alone as versus playing with friends and family.
Mhm. Me, I'm a fan of survival horror, as expected. So everything from Silent Hill, not so much Resident Evil, admittedly, but
What was the dinosaur one?
Dino Crisis.
Did you like that?
Yeah, I like Dino Crisis.
I think you just like because dinosaurs randomly.
Well,
pop up.
that also is a reason I liked it. I struggled with Outlast, which was I guess it was the modern day clock tower game because you can't really fight the monsters and you have to keep running and hiding from them.
But then real time strategy we both like.
To some extent, I think you got into it more than me because you really got into StarCraft, and
Yeah.
I wasn't so much into it, but I knew my friends were playing it. That includes Dota. So I just
But I never got into Dota.
Yeah,
I couldn't get into MMO MOBA games.
yeah, I just really played because they were playing. I was more happy to play match 3 games, or the old school Japanese RPGs.
Mm. Okay. So yeah. So very different
Mhm.
computer game genres.
I think we shared a love for adventure games,
Oh my god! Just look how you updated this list. Okay, go on.
but yeah,
But I think I still got into adventure games more than you did.
yes.
Because then I'm still willing to replay Loom and Day of the Tentacle and Full Throttle and the Grim Fandango. Always. Okay.
Then we have clothing. So Rocky prefers comfier wear.
This just means that I don't have a major clothing preference because I'm a t-shirt and jeans guy and I don't really care. I have never owned a suit in my life.
But you also will refuse to wear certain clothes.
Like,
No, I mean, you're happy with your shorts. You don't want to try this or that type of shorts.
I mean, yeah, I get very set in my
Mhm.
ways.
You,
And
you
like,
once you're comfortable with what you wear, that's it.
yes,
Mhm.
yes. Then there's no need. Then I will wear shoes until they die. And then I'm always like, wow, my shoes super get beat up. But then Toby's like, because you only own like 2 to 3 pairs of
Mhm.
shoes. And I murder them because I walk with them all the time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Grim Fandango is an awesome choice.
Martin, we have yet to play Overwatch. I have never played Overwatch.
I have only played it once as research. I realized I'm okay with it.
I think we're both not into first person shooter style games.
I am okay with first person shooters single player. I don't like multiplayer first person.
Oh, but then that's the whole point these days. It's
Well,
like,
that's why if you notice, I enjoy Metal Gear Solid. I enjoy
but Metal Gear Solid is
Bioshock.
not a first person shoot. These are over the shoulder games.
well, most of them are, but some of them have like the it wasn't Call of Duty. It was the other one, the World War Soldier. Anyway,
It's not Call of Duty. It's the
Medal
World
of Honor.
War.
There you
It's
go.
the World
Medal.
War Soldier.
Medal of Honor.
Because Call of Duty is obviously not war soldiers.
Yeah, but not that one in specific. Okay. Anyway, so going back to comfy wear, you prefer comfy wear. I am very functional wear in the sense of
I am functional.
I wear hoodies. I wear long sleeves.
This ties back to our question on temperature because I still think this country
I
is
like
too
scarves.
hot for these things.
I'd wear gloves if I
Like,
could wear gloves.
I do not understand people who can wear onesies. And like, this is not the country for onesies. It's too
And
hot.
I am the terrible person who used to wear socks with sandals.
To be fair, I think that's a pain. Like we all touched on that, especially anyone who's been in the 90s. It's like we've all been there.
Yeah, but I wore enough socks in my life to prove it. If you see how smooth my feet are. I mean, you know it's smooth.
I've always worn socks. You're the one who I've seen sometimes not wear socks.
I mean,
I always wear socks.
you know it's weird when the masseur themselves tell you, Sir, ang kinis ng paa mo.
I don't know.
Talo pa babae.
I will blame my weight because it has beat up my feet. So I've always had calluses to some degree. Oh my God. He's like, Noel's like, mula kilig sa unicorn onesies ko. See, yeah, I mean, like, they're cute, but it's like, this is not the country for it unless you're in an air-conditioned environment the entire time you're wearing them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
So I always worry when people wear onesies in public places.
Yes, especially during Halloween events. It's like, hey, good for you, but I will stay like 5 feet away.
Or pride events.
Yeah. It's like, I can't.
Pico shares does not prefer competitive FPS games. Yeah, I think ultimately me, I don't like competitive online games. I when I play games, I don't want to be competing. I'd rather be enjoying. So that's me.
That's why you've gone back to a lot of City Skylines, and enjoying also includes playing Banished
And escape rooms.
and escape rooms.
Okay. I do also like jock straps, suspenders. There was a time I was into turtlenecks,
We haven't talked about this.
but I liked it because you could roll it up and then it can like cover your entire face, and suddenly your chamber of extra.
We're gonna touch on that in a bit, aren't we?
I think this is it. Because Rocky was a huge fan of Spider-Man.
Okay, I generally am, but I had a break after the Clone Saga. And then in my adulthood, I got back into it because of the Dan Slott run. And then also in my adult years, I got into the cosmic line, starting with Annihilation. So I'm very Marvel. I tried to
Who are your cosmic heroes?
Nova, Guardians of the Galaxy,
Mhm.
like as a group is
Mhm.
cool. Admittedly, I was a sucker for the Thanos stories, all that Jim Starlin stuff, which is also
So you like everyone, the in-betweener.
not really. But it's like, but when you follow the Thanos epics, it's like.
Mhm.
But to be fair, when I reread it now, it's like, oh my God, it's like so much philosophizing and like, let's quote Nietzsche in this chapter of the
And it'll
book.
sound awesome because kids are reading it.
Yeah, so I mean, but yeah, so that's been like my side of the
Mhm.
fence. And to be fair, I dabbled into DC to some degree
Mhm.
because my mom loves Batman, and I will say this again: my mom loves Batman, and she collects, and so I tried to read Batman. I tried to read Green Lantern. I'm okay with Green
Nick
Lantern.
asks Quasar.
Sorry, no.
I thought he looked hot, but only when the artists made him hairy.
Quasar. I think I like Quasar when Quasar was a girl.
I think that was Max Texeira who drew him with fuzz.
I don't know. But yeah, when Quasar was a girl, Quasar became interesting. But original Avengers Quasar,
So you
I think-
didn't like this guy who wanted to be a Green Lantern but was yellow.
yeah, I know. It's like,
Ka-ching! So yes, Nick Nick guessed it right. I was more DC, but not in the sense that I liked more DC titles. And let me explain. When it came to Marvel, I related with the Marvel mutant titles more, but not all of them. I enjoyed X-Men, but I really liked New Mutants more. And I didn't like the New Mutants
I didn't get into any of the
in
X
the later.
books. It's
in
so
the later
weird.
books.
I feel like every other gay friend I have, it's like, oh, the X-Men were so awesome, and like I never
I
got
wonder
into
if
the
part
X-Men.
of that is the fact that you sort of lived an out lifestyle sooner. I just wonder, because for me, that was the relatability, admittedly.
No, but I wasn't out when I was reading
Yeah.
comics originally. I only came out in 2003.
Mhm.
So no, it doesn't explain my
Okay.
my Spider-Man fascination for most of my life.
Oh, Spider-Man was hot. That was a different thing entirely.
Depends on the artist.
Yeah.
Depends on the artist. But I think Spider-Man is
Fuzzy Spider-Man.
Spider-Man is definitely up there in like one of the reasons I'm gay and like
Fuzzy Spider-Man.
shirtless
super hot.
Spider-Man many times. And maybe it's also why I like slimmer guys.
That's true.
Okay.
So I was a New Mutants guy. I really liked the concept of New Mutants, especially during the era where Bill Sienkiewicz was the artist. I was also very much more into Legion of Superheroes when it comes to DC. Legion of Superheroes. Until now, I'm still reading Legion of Superheroes.
Nikki's like, why no mention of often shirtless Peter Parker? And then, ayun. Okay, so you just got it. So yeah.
So in terms of DC, there was Legion of Superheroes. Superman, not so
You're
much.
super into Legion though. It's like one of the first things you're talking about, and I had never read a Legion book
Mhm.
ever. I only see them knowing that, wow, that's a ridiculously large team.
and it gets even crazier when you realize the many incarnations they've gone through.
Yeah, like
Because-
the same.
Because the incarnations aren't just reboots; they're sort of still carrying the same story arc.
Yeah.
Because the original group died, and then clones of them were turned into kids, and it's a huge plot. Okay, so there's Legion, which I really got into, but I also got into not the Justice League, not Superman, Batman, so, but I really love Justice League Europe, which is the strange group
That's very obscure.
with
It's not even.
Metamorpho
Yeah.
and
Was that international or it was Europe that became
it
international?
was Europe, but they had some crossovers with international. But I think I liked it because the humor of that book was just crazy. I mean, that was the book where they were. That was the book that had the episode where Batman punched Guy Gardner and all this and that. And they had a villain called the Beef Eater at one point in time, who was literally the Beef Eater from Jin.
Okay.
Yeah, and beyond those, I guess, was the quirky interest in the less popular books. So, like, when Image came out, I was not really into the bigger lines like Wetworks and the like. I was more into the smaller titles. I was really into Milestone comics before Static became popular. The Shadow Cabinet, Heroes. Excuse me.
Oh, if anything, for obscurity, I am still like a big supporter of the original Doom 2099 run.
Oh.
I super love Doom 2099.
And did they revive Doom 2099? They did, right?
I didn't
They had,
like
they had
what
a
they-
recent
I didn't
revival.
like what
Okay.
they did with the 2099 revival. It was
Okay.
very strange.
I guess to close the comics area, as I was mentioning, I really got into the indie stuff, and that eventually led me to the less known at that time, but then quickly became popular stuff. So Planetary, Authority,
Yeah, this was like
Kabuki.
this was our early relationship stuff. Like Toby's like, oh, you have to read this and you have to read that. So he made me read Authority, Planetary.
and
Technically, I only read Sandman when we got together.
that was what I wanted to say next. That you notice we haven't really talked about Sandman, and it's not that we weren't into it.
We came from different directions.
Yeah, and Sandman was one of the things that we connected in the sense that that's something we common ground. in
Because
terms of
it's like,
comics.
oh, you read Neil Gaiman. Like, yes, I read American Gods. And oh, I read Sandman. And then like, oh, have not read either. So we had to swap.
But even with that time, in terms of Vertigo, I was more into the lesser known comics like Enigma or
Yeah,
Kid
he made me read
Eternity.
Enigma.
So yeah, that's me. I guess I just connected in a different way. Sleepwalker's the weirdest thing I connected with.
That
in
was
Marvel
a
Comics.
that was a hard comic to read, man. I only read Sleepwalker because he intersected with Spider-Man a lot.
Yeah, and I don't know why I got into Sleepwalker, but I really like this.
Because Sleepwalker.
I really like this alien bug-eyed creature
who could only come out
when the guy was
when the
asleep.
guy was asleep.
I
Oh
think
my
I
God.
think my fascination for that comic was because of the artist.
Mm.
Okay.
And then my last book, which we listed, was that I super got into Tintin
Mm.
very early on, and I have a complete collection now.
I can't help but feel your Tintin is my Kabuki.
What a weird comparison.
Because Kabuki for me was the book I was trying to make sure I had a complete collection of.
Mm.
But I wasn't necessarily rereading it over and over again.
Well, I read my Tintin a lot, and it's only in my adult years that I finally completed it by getting Tintin in Russia and Tintin in the Congo. Which, okay, I understand why they were rare because Congo very racially problematic. It's one of those things that must come with a disclaimer that the comics are appropriate at the time.
Yeah, so Nikki states X-Men and Legion are often
I have
compared.
to run to the bathroom.
Yeah, that's true. There were many similarities. The main one being that they were both teams that each member was a super diverse power set. Legion of Superheroes, depending on which era you look at, did have a very X-Men feel wherein the people hated or feared them to some extent. But generally, Legion was a very uplifting storyline because people kind of saw them as, well, the main concept of Legion, at least in the one most people got into, was that they were all representatives from their home worlds and they had a unique power because every alien race had their own unique power. People from Saturn were telepaths, people from Mars had magnetic powers and this and that. So yeah, that was the idea in Legion. But what I really liked about Legion was that it was a concept that they were a bunch of kids who, after saving the life of RJ Brand, end up becoming this interplanetary group that now tries to make the world better. And a lot of times their enemies were adults. Their enemies were much more overwhelming people. One of them, Mano, had a hand that could disintegrate things. And in one comic, actually, he just touched the ground and disintegrated a pad. Excuse me. If you want to realize how far Legion goes, their main enemy was Darkseid. So, yeah, that's Legion of Superheroes. I'm now trying to think of if there were any specific authors. Because I was super into Clive Barker, not so
Nikki
much
says asterisk is his
Stephen King.
Hmm?
So I was very much into Clive Barker. I wasn't so much into Stephen King.
But I only like Stephen King because of Dark Tower. But I
Mhm.
wouldn't say he's my favorite author.
And then you had a lot of Pratchett, which I barely touched the surface of.
Yeah, that's and then which I don't have because I abandoned it in my breakup with my ex. But my
This
Pierce
is-
Anthony, my
Yeah,
Xanth
Pierce
stuff.
Anthony, which I was deeply into also during my younger years. Whether it was the Dragon Riders of Pern. Yeah.
I never got into Pern.
But that was right there. That was,
That's Anne McCaffrey.
yeah, see, now I'm messing it up. That's the beer getting to me.
No,
But
that's
yeah.
just Toby. If he were sober, he still wouldn't remember.
That's right. That's a name. Names.
Like,
Names. I still remember Banana Yoshimoto with Lizard and Kitchen. I like those books.
what? What are we talking about?
Banana Yoshimoto. Don't you know Banana Yoshimoto?
No,
I'm serious. That's an author.
I don't know this.
It's like Poppy Z. Bright. You know, everyone was into Anne Rice. I was Poppy Z. Bright.
I don't know this.
And then
also.
everyone was into Murakami. I was Banana Yoshimoto.
I don't think I ever reached the point where everyone was into Murakami. It's still a bit obscure.
Yeah, I guess in my case that was because I was part of a literary folk
That is true
organization.
too.
So
You're
there was a
bunch
lot
of
of-
bunch of book nerds.
Yes, book nerds. So, what nerds tend to do or not do in this case is get into social media.
We didn't know how to describe this, but I am obviously more online than Toby is.
Rocky is social media savvy. Rocky,
Okay, on the one hand, it's my job. On the other, I've always kept pace with these kinds of technologies.
Rocky would be one of those people who could naturally slip into becoming an influencer. Because the idea of making sure you have content, the idea of interacting with people who interact with you, engagement and all this, that they come naturally to you.
I guess.
I struggle. When I look at Twitter and I read people's tweets, I'm like, okay, cool. And then sometimes I'll read people's tweets, and this even conclude some of yours. And I find myself actually wondering, oh wait, should I heart this? Because I feel like I'm intruding. Because I don't feel like I'm part of this conversation, and that's me. I don't quite connect or get social media the way others do.
So yeah, so if people wonder why I reply more than Toby on social media stuff, it's because of that. That
Mhm.
I'm more hooked in, I'm engaged. Toby is still the old man taking photos with his iPad.
And this includes even beyond just social media per se. I mean, social media like Twitter per se. I mean, for example, what's this? I only created a Facebook account because we
Yeah.
met. And then even with that, stuff like thinking of making posts, updating your cover image and all this and that, they were still things that I had to consciously make an effort to do because I didn't feel they were things that I had to do. I guess I always felt the internet was just a functional thing for me. I never saw it as a avenue of communication or presentation.
Yeah. Because like it says it's a semi-auto liker. I'm like that. I'm a high engagement person. I'm
Mhm.
like if you optimize your ads for the engagement objective on Facebook, you're gonna get me in the
Mhm.
audience, maybe. So but that's my way of like showing that I've read your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I forgot who mentioned that my social media stuff is like my love language for friends.
Mhm.
It's like the way I engage on social media is sort of that.
I think I mentioned that to you.
Was it you
Yeah.
or okay? Yeah,
Because
possible.
you were asking about why you weren't really social with people. And we're like, no, you do engage in that. way."
Maybe
Yeah,
maybe.
because we all engage in different ways. I I actually am more comfortable starting a chat with a person than I am with starting a conversation in posts.
Mm.
I guess I feel as if I were in a chat, then I know the person's there to talk to me. But if it's posts, I start getting anxious. Oh, they haven't answered yet. Oh,
But I
they-
feel like, and I feel like it's a similar behavior, like on the dating apps we maintain. Then
Mhm.
I feel like you're still like sometimes struggling to have conversations, or I don't know, depending on the person.
Mhm.
And then I'm like very connected. I'm always like, hey, there's a person.
So yeah, that's that. And admittedly, I translated it to I find myself even more comfortable when I do talks or when I do like when we used to hang out with some people and then we talk about topics and I just ramble about stuff I want
Yeah,
to
if it's
talk
just talking with a group of people, admittedly, I wallflower a bit.
Mhm.
I think, depending on the topic. But then I can give talks to
Mhm.
groups.
Yeah.
I could totally do that because I'm a performer. But I'm an introvert who presents as an extrovert.
And me, I think it's more. I'm the type of guy who could do that if I could pull something back. So in social media, I feel it's throwing out and I'm not pulling back.
Mm.
So I don't get that momentum I need. But if I were in a face-to-face event, if I'm running a game, or if I'm giving a talk, then the moment I discuss this and I see reactions, I can draw from that and give back. Which is why I guess when it comes to role-playing games, I struggle online play.
Yeah, Toby's not been having the best time. In these
I've
online
realized
things.
that I can do it better when I look at you while I'm running a turn.
I notice you do that. It gets a little intense, but it's only for my turns that you're
Yeah.
like really talking to me.
But I realized that helps.
Then I have to look at you over my computer, but then I look back at like the rest of the people, and then I look at Toby, and then I roll my die on Discord.
Why'd you go far? Let's keep moving. The introvert that presents an extrovert is me. I think many of us are still deeply more introvert than extrovert, in as much as we feel we are extroverts. Because I know I tire out when there are just too many people.
I mean, that's why quarantine hasn't been terrible. And
Mm.
like, we do miss friends. We
Oh my
miss a
God,
lot of
I gave you
people.
fake dice. Fake
It's
dice.
okay.
Yeah.
But then we also don't, we haven't been in a rush to invite people over.
Mhm.
If that were a thing, because it's just not, we don't miss people that much.
And even if we do, even if we choose to invite people over, I feel that there's that guilty truth of I need a break. I'll need to hide in the restroom or something, or I'll need to step out just for a moment of silence again, even if it's not that you wanted to avoid the person, but just because it feels like it's always locked together.
Mm.
So you just want to try to change something slightly somehow. I don't know. It's weird.
Kino relates. You can also do a presentation with a large crowd, but not one for small talk. I mean, like I can work on small talk if need to, but then when it's like I think when we did like those RPG breakfasts, then it's a fairly large group occupying several tables at Starbucks.
Mhm.
Then I kind of like fade,
Yeah.
and then I'm like, I'll let you guys talk,
Or like you're waiting for someone to cue that you can talk.
or like a
Because-
topic that I really feel knowledgeable
Mhm.
about, because otherwise I don't want to just jump in, because
Mhm.
then it's like it's not my key area of expertise or something.
Okay. So now it's the financial topics, and we know that Rocky's gonna bring up my magic envelopes.
Well, I won't do it now because you already did it. But okay, I have a very diverse portfolio, is what I will say. So I'm not good with cash in the sense that I barely maintain cash anymore.
Mhm.
All my stuff is digital.
Is that because you prefer?
Yes,
that way?
I don't like carrying cash. And then if there's that's like for me one of the best things that have come from this pandemic is everybody shifting to more digital means of payment. So that's why I'm the one with the Gcash account, and I'm super happy about that. And I have several insurance policies. I have investment
Mhm.
mutual funds. I have stocks
Mhm.
that I maintain on my own. I have several savings accounts. Yeah, so that's me. I'm like super diverse. I have a Google sheet, which I don't know if Toby remembers, that I've made a Google sheet that lists all these things, the account numbers, and even the agents that he needs to call if the worst happens. If this were an episode of Forensic Files, this is a motive for murder.
Quickly jumping first to comments.
Good thing, so sometimes
Conversations
can be tiring and exhausting.
Can we just have companionable silence, which is what our normal?
This is
everyday
our life. When people wonder like what do we do a lot of times. We have our computers both at the dining
Mhm.
table.
We might be doing different.
We might have
things.
we have a TV show playing, and depending on the level of commitment, it's probably a background TV show, and we're still doing our other things,
Mhm.
and we can get hours can go by and we're not talking.
And this could even include us sending direct instant messages to each other rather than talking, just so that we can keep doing what we're doing and carry the
This
conversation.
is how we work out the Baduy Pride topic for
Mhm.
the day. I'll be like, hey, I checked the list. I rolled 5 options with a random number
because it
generator.
allows you to communicate the ideas and not stop what you have to do.
Yes, in theory, we're like
Whereas-
still being productive.
Whereas if you stop and go into a conversation, it feels rude to still be typing an email while trying to have that conversation and stuff like that. So
we'll justify it that way.
going back to the topic, however, mafia envelopes.
Explain, Toby.
I officially am not part of the mafia.
That's what anyone in the mafia would say.
I officially do
Are you
not-
in trash collection? Waste management?
So I'm not into laundering, despite the fact that we like to wash dishes and fold clothes.
I'm into laundering. Yay!
But yeah, admittedly, I'm more a liquid person than I am a bank person. I don't know. I think it's just because I've never really gotten fully informed about it. I wouldn't mind trying stocks and stuff, but I know I have an inherent distrust whenever old friends or former office mates or former schoolmates suddenly reach out to me and they're like, Toby, do you have time? I have a proposition and this and that. And if it's not,
Are you open-minded?
if it's not some business opportunity, if it's not a pyramid scam, it's now the more common investment thing where everyone follows someone who's a better investor and you don't have to pay them supposedly. And
Just
No,
just listen to the way that Toby is explaining
No,
the
no.
offers.
but that's sort of what the friend told me, and it was like, because I've been investing in ganyan ganyan, and since I don't really know, I don't have to pay a stock market agent because parang the system clones the investments of this person who's better at it, and so I'm like,
oh, one of those. Okay,
this still
okay,
sounds
I get
kind of
it.
sketchy, so I don't know, and I always worry about stuff like that because
When in doubt, you can always invest in funds that follow the stock market, be it what it may. It's not great, but it's consistent.
so there's that, and then there's also some of the bonds that I've gotten into with my mom. Um, these are little investments that I do on the side. And what happens is when the dividends and the earnings come in, they all go to one place and then they're distributed to the people who invested for it. Because this might be a bond, for example, that requires 2 million, but then we will all chip in to reach the 2 million. So we all have a percentage of the earnings when they come in. And that's why I have my mafia envelopes. So right now in this unit, if the worst happens, Rocky already has
I'm okay.
a notable amount of money that's cash in hand that he doesn't have to worry about.
I do not maintain this much cash. And then I just realized like I have not spent cash for months now.
Mm.
Especially since like my last cash holdout was like the place where I get my keto stuff. And then they recently signed up for Gcash and like yes, then I can pay Gcash or credit card.
I, on the other hand, still have a slight distrust for stuff like Gcash and the like. Not that I think that they will cheat me out of my money,
Mm-mm.
but I'm just worried of what if suddenly something happens and there's no power. And
It's on your phone, Toby.
yeah, but what if the systems that will supposedly do the transaction can't connect to the whatever system? It's sort of like when the credit cards are down and suddenly
How often are credit cards down?
this is the Philippines. So I'm paranoid.
How often are credit cards down?
All I know is that I have cash in hand if need be. And that's good enough for me because people will accept that even if they're people on the street.
I don't deal with people on the street.
And that's why together we will survive the apocalypse. Because you have digital money, I have financial funds in hand, and at worst, we have a lot of things in this unit to barter.
I don't know if they'd be great in a post-apocalyptic future.
You'd be surprised. But yeah, looking
You
at
know what, joking?
comments.
It's an invitation for a break-in. Actually, Anak Nico is like, he wants to make it a scavenger hunt to find the
Oh my
envelopes.
god.
It hasn't happened.
Admittedly, if you do choose to do that, it will probably be fruitful. However, we're not without our own defenses and securities. Do you really think that you'd have stuff like that laying around and not have people keeping watch?
There are cats everywhere.
Moving forward, Rocky is really into British comedy sketches.
Or not just British, but yeah.
Monty Python and the like. I don't know how to quantify it because you hate you hate bad puns.
But then I
consider,
like Mel Brooks.
Yeah, but that's my point. I
And
consider
Airplane.
those bad puns.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to
I
refer
think,
to them.
or I think I hate it when puns are brought up in real life and not just in a movie. Because Toby puns all the time.
For example, ano ang Tagalog ng pork chop?
I'm not going to repeat it. It's already in the comments, buried, but he's already infected Nico with this pun.
Pig hati.
Right? Right. But it made Nico laugh, so okay.
And that's the thing. So Rocky is super.
But yeah, I'm
fan of
super
that.
into Monty Python.
I struggle to appreciate it. I tend to feel they're okay, fine, which is exactly how you feel about the stuff I find funny.
Mm-mm.
And that's where it is. Um, I don't know. I actually don't know why that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. We can't quantify it well, but there's just something about I like this, he likes that. They seem to
Yeah.
be the same thing, but they're not.
And it's not that I hate Monty Python. I mean, I hate it when it comes up in a game. I don't like any. Actually, it's not just Monty Python. I don't like show references when we're running a game
Mm.
because that sort of distracts you from the story of the game, and that's now talking about the show.
And I don't do that.
Diba? So, like, if you were having a game, if you're having a scene, and then someone goes, "So ano yun? Para kang Batman," and then that becomes a running gag. Then it's now all about the Batman joke, and not about
What is this example?
the first one that came to mind. But that's my point. That if the joke distracts from the game, and that tends to happen with puns,
Yes.
then it's no longer a fun joke for me. Because puns were sorry, not puns. Monty Python was the death of many fantasy stories.
Mm.
Because you would have some fantasy story, next thing you know, they'll pull in a joke we're in, but I'm not dead yet. Or they'll pull in the joke we're in, they're doing the horse sounds. And suddenly
That's fair.
everyone's now coming up with the next Monty Python punchline to throw in to try to make others laugh more. And that's why
We're a sacred cult.
that's why I had a relationship in that manner with Monty Python shows. But if I were to watch the shows on themselves,
He's okay.
I am okay.
I made him watch the most of the
And,
run of Monty Python.
I was a huge fan of History of the World.
That's not Monty Python.
Yeah, but I mean the Mel Brooks and
Okay.
stuff. But I do appreciate those kind of jokes. It's just that I hold them in a will enjoy privately sort of category, if that makes sense.
I guess. Okay. Moving on.
I, however, seem to really enjoy making people groan at dad jokes.
And I think, and Toby feels very uncle this way. And I say uncle like in Singaporean sense of it's very uncle. I don't know. It's in the same culture as taking pictures with his iPad. And he's
Oh.
not that old, you know.
Wait, there's an interesting comment
Mhm.
from Kuting. Puns or slapstick?
I don't know.
I've never really been a slapstick fan, to think about.
But we like Miranda, who does
Yes.
have a lot of slapstick humor.
Miranda
Monty
has-
Python has a lot of slapstick humor.
But Miranda's slapstick humor, I guess the thing that makes it that was a slapstick moment.
Extra Jaws plus beer equals very foamy beer.
The thing about the Miranda slapstick, however, is it's not slapstick after slapstick after slapstick.
That is true.
There would be a slapstick moment, and then she tries to recover but keeps failing.
Mm.
But it's no longer about that slapstick moment. It's now about the recovery that's funny.
Okay.
Which is, I guess, why Fleabag also succeeds in that manner. Wherein it's Fleabag, it was less the slapstick, but more the emotional humiliation in that moment. Hair is everything. Show her the reference.
Still not slapstick, but okay. It's funny. Yes.
Mm.
We love Fleabag.
So yeah, so that's what I'm thinking.
And Pico's like, because Uncle Roger, which is funny, but he's Malaysian.
And I was a bit surprised that he has a six-pack and all that.
Yeah, because he's still Nigel. So, and his channel is a mix of because Uncle Roger is a character that he does, which is not the same as the stand-up comedy that Nigel does.
No,
Strange.
Not familiar.
I've watched only because his humor, because it's Malaysian, touches on Singaporean humor, and it kind of works. And I
You need more
monitor.
ice.
I don't know. I forever have ice.
I'll get the ice.
Actually, we should
Because
think
I need
about
ice.
because this. Yeah, but we've run through the list technically.
Let's ask people for questions.
Yeah, there are still 9 of you who are still watching after so much time.
Or maybe they can mention something they love or they hate, and then we can relate.
Yeah. So, are there weird things that you think you love that is different? So, maybe that'll help. Because if not, we'll wrap up and then we'll just talk to Nico all night. Because that's what Pamilya Egg does on Friday nights. Yeah. Whew. Ooh. Not drunk, but definitely feeling the fact that I've been drinking a lot of vodka.
I am feeling the fact I've been having beer. I shall restroom again.
You've had, well, yeah, you've worked through most of your 3 beers. So, but yeah, I think we only really have like Pico mostly commenting, which I appreciate you being here. Always a pleasure. Uh, what else? On weird things. Oops. Too much vodka. Oh, Forever Ice is just funny though because it's that reusable plastic ice that just freezes. Oh, so Puting mentions Junji Ito's Uzumaki is cool in a disturbing way. Toby's the one who is more into Junji Ito than me. Noel, of course, misses hanging out at all. I do too. Sorry. Kuting mentions Junji Ito,
Ah,
which Toby likes.
yes, Junji Ito.
Noel misses O. Of course, I miss O. We this is why we're doing this. And we're just talking. And
Speaking of Junji Ito, I don't think I've really gotten you to try Junji Ito.
no, I've actually purchased a few comics on Comixology, but I haven't gotten to it.
We could start with the movie. Spiral.
Ladies and gentlemen, I shall put the question to you. Should I watch Spiral? Will you let Toby make me watch Spiral?
What have you done today to make you
No,
feel
it's
proud?
what have you done today to make me feel proud? And again, see, that's the quirk is that I super appreciate that Miranda joke because I know Heather Small's proud from Queer as Folk, US, because it kept coming up over and over.
Spyro as Spyro the Dragon, no Pico. Spiral,
Spiral.
which is Uzumaki.
So people don't really know. So I think we don't have an answer. So I will not watch it.
Admittedly, Junji Ito.
Is it scary?
Junji? It's disturbing. Not scary. It's disturbing.
Body horror involved?
Yes, he's a body horror person, but his body horror is because he likes making things weird. It's not gory. It's weird.
I guess I could survive because it's not jump scary, right?
No, not really.
Okay, because jump scares are the worst.
Junji Ito tends to be dread rather than jump scares. In fact, he had this other storyline wherein he had land sharks type of monster, and they were cute for me, but others found them
Oh
fun.
my god, like, let's have a watch party.
Yeah, but probably not as Baduy Pride, only because we might get.
Yeah, we're gonna get content flagged for it for
Yeah.
sure.
And the thing about Junji Ito, which is amazingly fun,
Because
is the fact that the guy himself is super into cute stuff. So if you search for images of Junji Ito, you'll see him acting like a cat. Or it's crazy because he's such a nice guy, but he also really likes exploring.
this
these,
is like our life together is like within our first few years together, Toby made me watch Existence,
yes,
which is a
you'll never look at eating fish the same way.
it's a biopunk show movie. It's not cyberpunk, it's biopunk. So
It has the emperor from Gladiator.
it's like massaging this thing that does things.
And-
It's organic machinery.
Yeah.
Noel's asking, what's your anniversary episode? Nico has to ask questions, but please help Nico. He needs guidance on what to do.
Mhm.
We are aiming for the 14th, so next week Saturday will be the anniversary episode, and then Nico will be our master of ceremony. I mean, we'll still help him along, but then ultimately Nico is supposed to be the one asking questions. But if you have questions that you want to bring up during the anniversary episode, talk to Nico. Anak will handle things for us.
So now I'm thinking just to see if there's the different likes. These aren't necessarily the binary type of responses, but board games. What's your like? What's your dislike?
What do you mean? What do we want to touch on?
A board game you really like, a board game you really dislike, and then I'll share mine as well. So they might not be the same game.
I mean, obviously, I think we think we brought this up recently, but obviously I super like Suburbia. I think Suburbia's like it'll always stand out because I love the Sim City transition. Games I didn't really like. Scythe.
Okay.
I
Because
didn't like area control. I felt like the robots did not perform as robots or as armies. They were weird farmer units that it just. I mean, I appreciate the mechanics of it to some degree, but then it's like because I don't like area control. I didn't like the way the miniatures came into play. Then I just didn't get into it. So I wasn't impressed the time we played it. You?
so like as mentioned, there are many games
Nico-
that I've cited. As
Oh,
games
Nico's
that I-
there. Okay.
But I guess for now, I will mention Galaxy Trucker as the game that I really like, only because it.
I like Galaxy Trucker. I don't think people like playing Galaxy Trucker with me.
I think people who dislike Galaxy Trucker think it's a game they have to win,
Instead of just
And they
enjoying
hate-
the journey.
and they hate how you can't really plan. It feels too random and this and that. But they're kind of missing the point of Galaxy Trucker, which is to see if you can win, to see how far you can go.
If your junk ship will survive and how long.
Galaxy Trucker, in many ways, for me, is similar to those community bingo games, like yung sa mga perya.
Oh,
We're
'cause
in-
you
you-
don't really choose your bingo card.
And you don't really try to win. But if you win, yay!
You wanna see,
And
right?
it's just the
Yeah.
fun of seeing how far it will go. And that's what I like about Galaxy Trucker. In terms of what I don't like, I think I'll still have to cite Wingspan. It's a great game.
That's sad.
It's nicely designed.
I kind of. I mean, I played it a few times, and I kind of like it. Levels.
Yeah, I get how it's nice, but I personally don't like it only because
Oh my god, truth or dare level
I
question.
struggle to
Kaya
to
wala.
appreciate it. I keep feeling like it's part this and part that of games I like, so I'd rather play those games instead.
Maybe there are a lot of familiar components to it that but it's so pretty.
Yeah,
I
it
will
is.
concede.
Visually,
But we
it's
still
fantastic.
don't own a copy.
Production value is beautiful. Gameplay is well thought of.
But I wouldn't mind if you see a second hand that's like a set with the expansions.
Oh,
Like
too late. You should have told me. There was someone selling, but I didn't. I
that's
ignored it.
okay.
Next
But but I think it has to be like super cheap.
Yes, Nick, bingo. I honestly feel Galaxy Trucker has the same. If you play bingo at a fair
Why does your bingo have 2 G's?
and you want to win,
Bingo.
you will disappoint yourself. But if you play just to play and see if you can win, then that's where it becomes
Yeah. That's true.
fun. Kuting asks, favorite local comics? Well, I think we should still keep this a like and dislike,
Mm.
if possible. Because we do also have a small range of comics we can cite. I will cite now. I
haven't read as many local stuff.
I'll be
as
brave
Toby.
enough to state this, and I hope I do not hurt anyone's any feelings. I might, but I don't really. That's outside of my control. I don't like Myth Space. I really want to like it, but I don't like it. I can't help.
I didn't like it either.
I can't help but feel it had such a rich potential, and it tried to stay safe.
It felt more Western than maybe I thought it was. But it was trying to pull local mythology into like a Western styling.
Yeah. I think for me, what just bothered me was they kept it safe. What's the word? I think the closest word is they sanitized it. Because they were trying to make it a sci-fi epic with tikbalangs and all this and that. They tried to sanitize a lot of things to keep it a certain level of genre. But then that kind of failed to grasp the interesting things about what they tackled.
Nikki's he's like that in all the games he plays the Mandao, so he never really wins. But that's okay as long as you're having fun. That's the important point about games, right? And then just play.
And then in things I really liked, that's tricky. Because close to my heart is of course Ratchet Eternal.
Yes,
I will be very biased and say I super
Myth
love
Space, Nikki. Myth
Josh's Eternal.
Space.
The way Carl explored the concepts, even with the new incarnation, the one where they're in Manila,
Mm.
really tries to touch on new ground in certain ways that I appreciate. I cannot ignore, however, Arnold Arias' work as well. Mythology
I still haven't
Class
read that. I have to
Mythology
admit. I have to
Class
read that.
has been an amazing book, um, and has been inspirational in many ways. And then we cannot ignore, of course, Wasted and the like by Jerry Alan Gilad, which themselves, in many ways, propelled and inspired me when I was working on comics. But in terms of if I were to only choose one I really like, I think I'll need a moment to think about it. Do you have one that you have in mind now that you like?
I have read very few local comics. So apart from Jaja, which I think will always universally love, I guess what was super striking to me was probably Elmer. I
Mm,
mean, that's some powerful stuff, Elmer.
yes.
Um, and the things I didn't like, which I know I will get slings and arrows for, is that I wasn't that impressed by Trece, but I
Mhm.
only read volume one.
Mhm.
So like, Nikki, kasi kini pa siyang ano eh, misfits and then missed space.
I'll write
You'll
that.
type. Okay. But then yeah, then I wasn't super keen on Trece. And then now it's a TV series and stuff. So I will probably have to revisit Trece and give it another shot.
My relationship with Trece, of course, connects to the fact that I did also make my own take on a horror comic in my own time. I admire Trece for what it's accomplished. It's amazing in hitting a wider audience.
Mm.
I personally feel it's not really a horror book, but I guess what is horror for people varies, and that's fine. That's not a problem. Um, I was thinking Elmer as the book I really liked, and admittedly, Elmer was very well done. It's very deep in the way it approached the story, but at the same time, it kept things at a level that was understandable, that was relatable. I was also thinking of um, Carl's Trip to Purgatory, which
Oh, and I have a copy, but I haven't read it. Oh my god.
I want to cite as very well done as well. But at the same time, I have to admit that, and as much as I liked it, it was just really too heavy for me. And I guess,
Like emotionally heavy.
yeah, and I enjoyed reading it, but I wouldn't vote it as what I really really liked.
Okay. That's fair.
Which
It's like
brings
no,
me-
it's like saying like Graveyard of the Fireflies. It's like
Yes.
it's not necessarily your favorite Ghibli movie, but
Yep,
it's
yep.
one you respect and
Yes,
appreciate what it
yes,
did.
precisely. So I think in the end, as odd as it sounds, I will have to choose the comic that introduced me to Carlo Vergara's work.
Oh, you're so santy. Wait, I have to go to the bathroom. But explain.
Of course, I terribly now am struggling to remember the name of the book. I think it was something, but I'm worried I might say the wrong name, so I want to search it first. Wait. Oh my god, beer is affecting my brain. Oh my god. This is terrible. Why can't I remember right now? I don't want to say a name that might be wrong. Flashpoint. There you go. See, good thing I did not say the name wrong. So they came out with a comic called Flashpoint way back. It had superheroes like Oro, who was a guy who was made of gold, Amulet, who had very nice powers. You had I think her name was Passion, who could sort of alter or affect emotions, and Angstrom, who had this Iron Man sort of super power armor thing. They had a range of story arcs that touched on what felt like Justice League inspired stories, but they also kind of did the death blow really early, wherein it was a confessional and some sort of villain was having some sort of pseudo religious implications. But Flashpoint was the name of the comic. And it will forever be the comic I wish I could read more of, but I know they never can finish it. You know, creative differences and all that, so they can never continue it again. Kuting, oh my God, thank you for still knowing and remembering Diliman. I doubt it will ever be published. I personally have to re-release a digital format that's better now because the existing
The
format
quality is not
is
great.
super terrible. But that was already good in its time. Those were already considered too huge as images to load.
To be fair,
Yeah.
because our like screen dimensions were 800 by 600 or something,
Yes.
and then things like that.
Yeah. I still remember releasing Diliman as a digital comic on CD-ROMs when I was selling them in. Oh my God, I was about to say libingan ng mga bayani for some reason. Bahay ng mga alumni. Libingan ng mga bayani.
Well, I guess it's sort of the same now.
But yeah, there was a time I sold issues there and I sold out and I was so proud of myself. That was that was a point of time in my life. So that's comics that we answered. Kuting, thank you so much. It's nice to know that you appreciated it. I always wonder how many people actually read it and finished it because I know it took so long to finish.
Yeah, it took us getting together to finish it.
What
Technically,
else? Yeah.
right?
What else? What else do we have? Just before we wrap up. Shows. A show you really don't like.
That's a lot. I don't know. I can't think of something in particular. I don't know. Like, I mean, like, as much as I got into RuPaul's Drag Race, I never got into America's Next Top Model.
Mm-hmm.
I like Project Runway.
I'm not a fan of. It wasn't Top Chef.
Oh my God, no, it's like Drag Race Canada.
Hell's
Ooh.
Kitchen.
Hell's Kitchen. That's like the shot. Yeah, this is Gordon Ramsay.
Gordon Ramsay is fun to watch in small snippets of YouTube videos. But to watch him on a show berating people, I could not enjoy it. I've not my thing.
American drama series. Oh, Pico's asking, what season of RuPaul do you like the most and what do you don't like? Actually, I don't. The seasons kind of blend together in my brain.
They aren't distinct enough for me.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think I peaked at like I think I like the season with Bianca Del Rio winning. Because then that was the finale with like Adore and oh my God, who is the other one? The Australian. But I super like that. But then like beyond that, it's this haze of seasons that I feel like remembering RuPaul's Drag Race seasons that specifically is approaching like knowing who won Miss Universe in certain years. Like I get it. Some people are super into it. I my brain doesn't work that way. I will instead recite for you theme songs from different 80s and 90s cartoons.
On my case, I think I realized that
Courtney Act, yes. Okay.
Yeah, I think I realized that for me, I don't latch on to competitors the way people do. I mean, other people, it's like you mentioned, like Miss Universe. They like Miss France, then they'll super know what Miss France wore, what she did, how she acted, and this and that, compared to everyone else. I don't latch onto them as individuals, but I do remember numbers I enjoyed or performances that stood out.
That's fair.
And tuloy, for me, I don't recall seasons per se, but I recall performances I admired.
And I just like Trixie and Katya together, but not just Trixie or just Katya. Things like that. That's why we didn't watch Katya when she was here.
Me, strangely, that tuloy makes me appreciate Drag U more.
See, we're like Drag U apologists. Like, we like Drag U.
Because Drag U really had people connecting, and it was through drag they connected further.
Because truly, the miracle of drag.
And that's what I like. Whereas a lot of the RuPaul's Drag Race episodes, and as much as I enjoy seeing what they come up with, it starts to feel very spiteful. Many of them just start drama just to see who can get the spotlight more, or who can get the camera noticed.
There is that camera attention, whether because of good things or bad things, just camera attention.
And I guess I'm getting tired of that. So I miss Drag You a lot.
But I don't necessarily miss the dragulator that determined your drag persona.
For me, that felt like an attempt to explain to cis people what drag was.
Yeah,
in a quick way.
That was like super. That was a bit of a stretch. Jay was asking favorite and least favorite queens, but like just in terms of like drag race performance ish. I don't know. Like I feel like Katya could have gone further. But I understand that she wasn't necessarily in like the best headspace. And then in terms of recent stuff, I really wish that like Juju, I wanted Jujubee to win that last All Stars. So that would have been cool.
I don't have any particular people who stand out. I do have queens who I'm so happy they didn't win. And I will not mention them for my own personal safety. Oh, that was, I don't know, earlier I had some spam bot trying to offer me a way to earn money. And I'm like, what? So someone else reported it just to shut them up.
That's weird.
Yeah, so no worries.
I saw that. What's that about? Okay.
But yeah, we're pretty much nearing a wrap up. So unless any of you who are still watching have more questions to ask, we shall start.
Or you should save your questions for the anniversary episode, and please make friends with our anak Nico because he will be hosting the show.
Nico, are you online? Message again so people know who to add you on Facebook.
Yeah, if you can say hi on both YouTube and Facebook, that would help people, I think.
But basically,
Nico is working. It's Friday night, so that's why the anniversary episode will be on a Saturday night.
So
Sorry, go.
So Nico will be fielding the questions. So if you have any questions in mind, just send them to him. It's up to you how far you want to go with the questions. We will, of course, always reserve.
The right not to answer.
Yeah, but at the same time, there's no. Don't be worried about what you want to ask. So Nico's there.
It's just to have fun. It's to celebrate the fact that we've been together for 11 years.
And at the same time, we want to give back to you guys. You've been there for us for 77 episodes.
Oh my God, 77. And by that time, it will be more. And then also, it is 11 years of Pamilya Egg. So it's 11 years of our very special friendship together, the three of us with Nico. I mean, to be fair, Toby and Nico were friends earlier than that.
Yeah, Nico mentions, I need
Nico
help.
needs help. He mentions on Facebook.
So feel free to send him whatever questions you may have that you might want to be asked in that episode, whether it's scrapbooky questions or hilarious.
Wait. Scrapbooky. Did you mean slumbooky?
Well, it depends. Because if you're poor, it's slumbook.
No! Don't say it that way. Slam book if we're international. But okay. Yeah. So was this? But I forgot. So like I guess so because our anniversary falls on a Tuesday, the 17th, and it's the 17th because 2 squared plus 3 cubed. The 2 cubed plus 3 squared is 17. Sorry, it's really the way I justified it. So I guess we have stuff that's happening leading up to it. So next Friday, for those of you who are here, Sophia doing it again. Next Friday, we will have the one and only Precious Paula Nicole as a guest. So we're doing another guest again.
Yes.
We're still scheduling another one. MC has also agreed to guest with us, and we are still figuring out when to have her, but most likely the weekend after. So we're gonna have Precious here next Friday, and then the Saturday after that is our anniversary episode with Nico. And that's all we got planned so far. I don't know. Beyond that, we have no idea what we're doing for most of next week. and then we'll see how it goes. So that's like I'm super excited. But yeah, Precious will guest next Friday, and then
Mhm.
Nico will interview.
We have a few more other guests in mind.
Oh
but
yeah, there
we
are
will
other, but
announce
because
them
we
only
haven't
when we're sure.
we haven't confirmed them, and they're not all drag guests. So if we once we confirm a date and stuff, then we'll announce. But Precious is official, and then MC has said yes. We just have to find a date. So
Now, if you
That's
got,
exciting.
now, if you want Noel to be a guest to talk about, having your own business and stuff like that, just let us know.
maybe, yeah. So last call for questions, last call for drinks before we wrap up today. But yeah, this very long episode was ultimately a topic suggested by our friend David. Thank you, David.
Are you
For-
still online, David?
Today's topic, I don't know. I haven't seen him commenting in a while, but it would be cool if he is. But David brought this up as things that you like and your partner doesn't, and so I think we had a lot more fun already, like over just figuring out what the list was over dinner. That was
Mhm.
that was funny.
It's early, Jed says. Well, that doesn't mean the call, doesn't mean hanging out has to end. It's just that we'll have to close the episode.
Because the episode has to end.
We officially don't want to have episodes that are way too long because people who do end up liking the show might not have time to check out an episode that's too long and decide not to watch it.
This is not Titanic, so it's already movie length because we're already about 2 hours long.
Mhm.
So and view count is like struggling at like 10. So
Frankly, we know it's a long episode when we have to say, "Excuse me, mag-restroom lang ako."
yeah, we've gone to the bathroom a few times, so it's probably been a while. So yeah, that's okay. But we appreciate all of you. But anyway, last questions, or if not, we're gonna go through closing spiel, so to speak. And I realize we have to wait a minute for the chat to
Yeah,
catch
I
up
know.
when we ask these things.
And I'm now thinking, is there any possible last question we could think of on our own? In
I don't
case
know.
people don't have one.
Oh, and guys, tomorrow is Kylie Minogue's Infinite
Yes!
Disco.
Oh my god. that
It's an
album.
online live stream concert thing.
Are they still able to buy tickets?
I think so. Because it's online on dice.fm. It's $20 for a ticket, but I know it's gonna be worth it. I don't think it's interactive. I think it's just a recording that's gonna be played as a live stream. But I'm super excited because Disco dropped, and I super love it. I super love the album. So she's definitely going to perform a lot of numbers from Disco and some of her classics with remixes and stuff. And I don't know. I just I'm so excited. We super love Kylie. So yay.
Okay, I'm thinking just to at least have our own wrap up in case people don't send anything.
Okay.
Likes and dislikes based on something that we already like. For example, Sandman story you hated the most.
I can't remember them specifically.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think I'm gonna super be able to say it. Because to be fair, there was this. Then it's just our scale of relativity because I liked a lot of the stories.
Okay. But the story I would have to choose as the one I hated the most for Sandman was the female metamorpho story. The
Oh,
element
that
girl.
one. But I kind of got it. I was okay with
It's
it.
a good story, but given everything else.
But yeah, see, then this is a scale of relativity.
Exactly. So for me, given everything else, I will have to cite that as the one I don't like.
Noel cites to plug Care Divas. Yes, I saw that Care Divas is going to.
And we've seen that, right?
Yes,
We've seen that.
I think
At the
we saw it together.
Yeah, that theater parallel to the main road near Cubao.
This is how Toby describes PETA theater.
I remember it based on how I drive to get there. Because I do remember the frustration that at one point we went there.
How many PETA
Wait,
plays
let
have
me
we
explain.
watched?
At
How
one
many
point-
PETA plays have we watched?
At one point we went there, we had to park and then walk somewhere else to ride the shuttle back. Because they suddenly changed the parking rules.
PETA is where we sat 2 seats away from Lea Salonga And then I'm like,
Rocky.
I'm gushing.
Yeah,
And then
I go. Rocky. Parang she looks familiar.
2 seats away. 2 seats away.
Rocky, I think I know her.
He said both because I was too in shock when he first said parang she seemed familiar. I didn't know how to answer. And then when he did, it was like,
And that is why later that same day, when Carl introduces us, I'm all hello po.
guys, you should. This is the thing. Toby has this weird, like, bow where I don't know if he's hiding his cleavage. And then he'll always be like, it's like his arm is up here. It's very like,
I think it's that. I think I'm like surfing it. I'm not a noble who can like reach out, so I'm surfing and I'm like bowing with my hand on my chest, that sort of thing. But I'm sorry, she looked familiar. I thought she was someone I knew.
Lea Salonga just looked familiar.
Well, Marcus apologist. So.
Oh, yow. But yeah, so yeah, it's hard to bring Toby around the place.
But going back to Care Divas, it is worth seeing.
Yes, so it's gonna stream soon. I haven't seen the dates for sure. I'm waiting for the
Okay,
formal announcement.
Care Divas or Rock of Ages?
Oh,
What's your vote?
I think I'd still say Care Diva.
Really?
I think so.
I'm more Rock of Ages. But again, I like the bubbles.
Because I'm married to a child.
No, because it was a really well thing they did with the bubbles, and then they
And you
have
just
choreography
like the fact that there was a whole canal system on the stage
and water.
and water. Exactly. That there was that.
What sacrilege is this? Okay, Care Divas is fine, but it's heavy for me.
Well, that's true though. I mean, it's not a light story.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's like ang pagdadalaga. It's like Maxi the Musical.
Ooh, Kuting asks a very delicate question.
Huling El Bimbo, we didn't watch it.
And when
we didn't watch the stage production.
yes,
We did watch it when it went on YouTube for a day.
and then even there,
No. Didn't like it. Didn't like it. It felt the narrative they constructed felt a little problematic. And I understand because of the lyrics, it steered the story in a certain way.
but even that could have been diverted somehow. Because it could have had that sort of a story, but in the end, redeemed.
Yeah. But parang
didn't
they
at all.
wanted to go in a dark place.
Yeah.
It's like,
And even the main plot, it's not twist, but the main plot complication, which basically happened in that car, felt unnecessarily heavy in one side. Kasi ang dami nila eh.
There is that.
And then that happens. And parang...
And then that's notwithstanding the fact that, I mean, because of the nature of musical rights, then it didn't actually have any involvement from the Eraserheads in its production and conceptualization. So as much as they will say that it's a love letter to the Eraserheads, it's a celebration of their music, we just didn't feel the need to talk to them,
And later on, tried to make up for it by having them join on stage.
Yeah. But
so yeah, and I know the comparison is basically stuff like Mamma Mia.
Because they're jukebox musicals.
And
it's like Jersey Boys.
But Mamma Mia nicely found a way to make the songs, what's the word? The meaning of the song connected to the message of the scene. Whereas it felt like there were certain words that they used to connect to the meaning, but the song was rewritten for that new scene. It felt like that. It felt weird for me in that way.
I feel like Mamma Mia is still like one of the happier examples of
the translation
of a jukebox musical.
Yeah.
Of a jukebox musical and like using music and like celebrating. Also, it helps so that ABBA music is generally happier.
Kuting also nails it in the head, hammers, whatever, in the sense that it was too long and too violent.
The car scene.
Yeah,
yes,
it really felt excessively too long and too
We
violent.
did not watch the Apple musical also, despite the fact all these musicals took place down the street. Like they were all at the Maybank Theater. We didn't get to watch it. Yeah, I don't have a good reason for it. I just didn't. It just didn't. It didn't draw me. So, and then like we've never watched any plays at Resorts World for some reason. Strangely enough, we've never watched any of the Resorts World productions. It's also because they do kind of they did a lot of weird old revival stuff like Sound of Music and like okay, so I think a lot of like hot talent like when a lot of people were excited over like Fred Law, and then like most of his work was like Resorts World's work, so that we didn't know we couldn't relate because we hadn't seen him in any production, so things like that. So yeah, just a perception. Okay. And then Noel feels like he feels like he likes Apple more than Eraserhead, so maybe that's a thing.
Oh, and just before we end this episode, Noel, thank you so much for the help with the Halloween.
Oh my gosh, the Halloween's outfit.
Get the cap. Get the cap.
Oh, it's still here. I have to. Hey, let me know what do I need to return? You know, I'm okay to return everything. I washed the shirt now, but yeah, I'm just not clear if it's sanitary to return it or do I whatever. Yeah. Oh, Angels in America. Okay, that production, to be fair, was like pretty good. That was pretty good. I mean, the source material is already strong, but the way that they staged it here wasn't bad at all. Yung vest lang talaga. Are you sure? Okay, but admittedly, and Nico agrees. The shirt fits me very well.
It does, actually. It does.
I don't know. There's something. It's like the shoulders. I mean, the arms pinch slightly, but I look pretty good in the shirt. I think.
Yeah, it's definitely something.
Toby. Okay.
What?
Yeah. Anything? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, this is like we're just stretching. We're just filling time.
Yeah.
But we segued into this lengthy local production discussion.
So, I guess we can wrap it up.
I guess we should wrap it up.
But again, everyone, please reach out now to Nico. Add him on your social media. I'm sure Nico will be okay with that.
Yeah, he super needs help for questions.
And share him whatever questions you have in
or like
mind.
I don't know, you want to do mini games in the middle, like when we interviewed Turing and we did word association. I don't know, things like that. So should we do a snatch game?
But ultimately, that episode will be an episode that Nico is in charge.
Yeah, Nico is driving that episode.
And we will be
no pressure, anak.
We will be acting as guests. So a lot of the times we will be, so Nico, what happens next?
Yeah. So
whatever way you can help him, go for it.
Nico needs a shirt na rin daw XX small. Proud Transportify supporters.
So officially, do we wrap it up?
I guess we should wrap it up.
That was more than 30 minutes. We had so much fun, and we hope you will join us again next time.
Yeah, so if you have suggestions for future episodes for us or just questions that you want to ask us, feel free to fill out the Google form at bit.ly Baduy Pride Ideas. However, this is different from if you want to submit questions for the anniversary episode. Please talk to Nico directly so that we don't know what the questions are.
Yeah, in as much as we could have created a form for that, that means we see the questions beforehand.
Yeah. So Nico will.
All up to you.
Nico's gonna run that show. I told Nico, he is still the best person to handle that episode. I have all faith in Anak. Okay, then of course, you can follow us on Twitter. All Toby No Shade. RG Sunico.
You can also check out our blog, that's baduypride.com, for all the previous episodes and stuff about us.
Yay. And then, so feel free to, continue the conversation in the comments below about, all the stuff, all the things that we talked about that we liked and don't like, and I don't know, just say stuff. Just leave comments. Engagement is nice. Like the video on Facebook, like the video on YouTube, all that stuff. And then feel free to subscribe for notifications, whether on Facebook or YouTube, so you don't miss our next live stream. Once again, I'm Rocky.
And I'm Toby.
And this is Baduy Pride. Happy Friday, everyone.
Thanks for watching.
Watch Kylie tomorrow. Bye.